Good morning, Morro Bay. Thank you all for being here today. I'd like to get started by establishing a quorum, and I want to thank my fellow board members for being here. We have a busy agenda, so we're going to get rocking. Taylor Newton, Sean Green, myself, Charlie Yates. I've got Stephen Allen, Maggie Jurin, and Ken Clark all here today, so we have a full board. That's very exciting. Are there any board announcements? Seeing none, I'd like to open the floor up for staff announcements.
None at this time.
We're moving on. That's good. We're going to open the floor to public comment this morning. Do we have any public comment?
Yeah.
Come on up.
All right. Good morning. My name is Sharon Buffo. I do work at the Visitor Center and Chamber here in Morro Bay, but I am not representing them in any way. This morning I'm here as a friend to Mental Marketing, Bill and Marianne Stansfield. I have been in the Visitor Center for over 10 years, so I've seen a lot of changes, and I can speak about the changes that I've seen and the visitors that are coming from not only across the country, but across the whole world. We've been making such great progress in the activities and the things that, like Winterfest and Avocado Margarita Festival and the car show that just happened and the Kite Festival, family fun events. And I'm calling the properties and I'm seeing how hotel rooms are being filled, and I kind of started avoiding Morro Bay on the weekends just because of that myself, trying to just cook at home for a change. So I would like to recommend them for this position. They are members of the Yacht Club. That's where I first got to know them almost 10 years ago. Marianne and I were on the social chair committee together. I know that they live in the Tuscadero and I live in Los Osos, but this is our playground. Morro Bay is the place where they're a lot like my husband and I. We love coming to Morro Bay. We go to the restaurants. We play in this area. We've shopped in this area. So in my mind, that's what we need, people who know this town inside and out. I also have a couple of letters. This first one is from Sandy Twist. She's the owner and operator of Morro Bay Paddleboard Company on the Embarcadero. As a small and growing business and as a fairly new sport marketing, it is essential to introduce ourselves and what we do. Mental Marketing has aligned us with great people who have been able to try our products and services and to share their experience firsthand with their connections. They've given us an opportunity to share our passion for stand-up paddleboarding with a wide range demographic, from families to international audiences. We have been very pleased with the quality of the people they have introduced us to the end product. We thoroughly enjoy working with them. They are organized and proactive. I've worked with a few other firms in this capacity, and by far, Mental Marketing has been the most professional. Also from Molly Anderson, the Anderson Inn, I just found out that Mental Marketing was up.
You can give the letters to us, but the time is up.
Okay. Boy, that went fast.
Always does. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. My name is Paul Irving. I'm with Big Slow Marketing. I'm an ad agency based in Baywood Park, specializing in local live music and tourism. And so I was the ad agency for the county T-bid in Osos for the past few years. Anyway, I just wanted to also chime in with a vote of confidence for Mental Marketing. I've known Bill and Marianne for like 15 years. I've sailed with them through the Morro Bay Yacht Club. I've worked on some projects professionally with them, and I would also agree that somebody who's in touch with the local scene here is an effective strategist for this kind of thing. Also, I've got a letter here. I'm representing Paul's. I've got a letter here from Paul Van Beurden from down at the Dutchman Seafood House. He says, "Dear Tourism Board members, I'm writing this letter to the board for my support of retaining Mental Marketing as the agency to handle the very important role of marketing our beautiful city on the Bay. My family has operated restaurants and other retail shops in Morro Bay since 1968. Our first business was a motel and a restaurant in North Morro Bay. Even back in the day, it was a challenge to get people in the door. I have been involved in and sat on boards like the Chamber, Harbor Festival, and City Promotions. I can't say enough what a well-thought-out and aggressive marketing does for one's business and the overall economic health of our community. Mental Marketing gets tourism. They understand Morro Bay. They're locals. They even have a boat here in the marina. They are professional, yet fun to work with. They are good at what they do. We've seen an improvement in business and the caliber of people coming through our doors. Business is changing for the better here in Morro Bay, and Mental Marketing has a lot to do with that. Plus, they just get it." Thank you, Paul Van Buren. And so that's all I had to say. I just want to give those guys a personal vote of confidence. It's just through my personal and professional dealings with them. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. Any other public comment? Seeing none, we're going to move on to our consent agenda. And I hope everyone had a chance to read the minutes. And we're hoping that we can move on. If anything strike your fancy to be pulled from the consent agenda? If not, I'm going to...
I just want to thank Lori, and in the minutes where we hyperlink to YouTube segments for sections for issues that are discussed for, let's say, longer than 30 minutes, and I'd love it if every advisory board minutes did the same.
Thank you. I'd like a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, we're going to move on to our main act.
So we have a presentation from 5 agencies today. These are the 5 finalists that were reviewed by a subcommittee over 2 months ago, and we've given them a task to go out and do a concept branding campaign for us. And so the first group up is Abbey Agency from Reno, Nevada. Also, they have 20 minutes to present and will allow 10 minutes for questions from the board. So if you want to make notes as they go, that'd be great.
All right, I know we have 20 minutes, so we are going to be going quite fast today. If you cannot understand me, just go like this and I will slow down, but we have a lot of information that we wanted to get in front of you guys today. So first of all, thank you so much for the invite to be here today. I'm Abby Whitaker. I'm one of the principals of the Abbey Agency. We are a 30-person agency based in Reno, Nevada, but with a small office in New York, as well as a small office in Las Vegas. All right, team and experience. So I have been, the Abbey Agency is 10 years old. We specialize in travel, taste, technology, and trade. So those are our 4 buckets. We are a fully integrated agency with all of our services within our brand. And I lead the PR strategy mostly for the agency.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Michael Leonardini. I'm the Chief Creative Officer at the Abbey Agency, and my formal past experience was at Marion Carson in Sacramento, California, where I worked on Visit California, San Diego Tourism, Monterey, Newport Beach, Pebble Beach, and so I have a lot of destination marketing experience, and it's great to see you this morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. My name is Allegra Demersion. I am a brand manager at the Abbey Agency. I lead a lot of our travel and tourism accounts, working with these 2 to develop the strategy and then working across our teams to bring it to life. So if we were given the opportunity to work with you all, I would be your main day-to-day contact, and we're really excited to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. The next slide is just highlighting a few of the other team members that would work on your account. Again, these team members are in-house and they are experts within their division, whether that's earned, owned, paid, or shared within that model. And if we get the privilege of working with you, we would bring them all here so that we could get to know you guys a little bit better.
And then we did want to speak for a moment about our tourism experience within the state of California. The Abbey Agency really understands what the competitive landscape of the tourism industry in California is and what the differentiators of all of the different destinations look like, as well as a lot of those drive market, fly market audiences that we're trying to reach. We've worked with North Lake Tahoe, Gogalita, Carmel, Explore Butte County, and so we've gotten experience to kind of target a lot of the same types of audiences that we know will impact the tourism market in Morro Bay, and we understand what moves them and where to find them. And the Abbey Agency believes in the storytelling approach to marketing. So we're not going to just shine up flashy creative and have that be a campaign. What we really believe in is uncovering the passions of a destination, going through a deep persona study to identify the passions of our audiences, and then connecting the passions that we know will resonate with the individuals we're trying to move and to inspire to come visit this incredible place. So this is kind of the process that we've put together to actually go through that, uncover those passions, develop tools, tie them to characters, and then create beautiful creative that's compelling and back it up with stories and content and social media. So today, as we take you through a couple of creative executions that our teams have put together, we've really approached it in this way, knowing that we're not just showing one facet, but a full-fledged story of Morro Bay.
And the reason you have to show a full-fledged story of Morro Bay is because it is a very, very competitive landscape, not just within the travel tourism world, but within the advertising world. It's very segmented, and people get their information in so many different ways. We cannot expect them to come to us. We have to deliver the right information to them when they're in that moment of their discovery, of their Google dreamer phase. So as we look at this, I want to know. That's the dreamer phase. I know I want to go on vacation, but where do I want to go? Well, they're not going to just come to the Morro Bay website where we can capture them there. We have to deliver the right type of content to them in the dreamer phase. Whether that's PR with a brand building PR campaign, whether that's social with an integrated influencer campaign, we have to bring them along for that journey, and we have to meet them there. I want to go, the planner stage. This is where our website, they've decided they are coming to Morro Bay. They've made that decision. I'm bringing my 2 kids, my husband, we're going to go to the bay, we're going to go to the beach, we're going to go to the harbor, we're going to go on a hike. So that's when we really want to pull them in and show them that we have everything that they need, that this is your base camp. That is where the web is really important, and ebooks and content marketing really comes into there. Video really comes into that. I want to do, again, they're booking. So we've got them, they've booked. This is when itineraries are a big part of this strategy. We deliver them this itinerary because at the end of the day, though we know we can be a base camp for adventure outside of here, we do want to make sure that they're staying here for 2, 3, 4 nights, that they're eating in our restaurants, that they understand the paddleboarding company and how paddleboarding might be intimidating, but there's a video on our website where you can search and understand how I can paddleboard, so that the mom of 2 kids isn't a little nervous to take those kids in the bay because they're going to be okay. That rhymed. And then I want to share, at the end of the day, advertising is nowadays with the millennial audience is about their friends influencing them. People are more likely to do something if someone they trust that has been there and experienced that shares that experience with their friends in their network on social. And that is free. So the strategies that we've done for Carmel, that we've done for Goleta, that we've done for Murrieta, that we've done for Lake Tahoe, that we have done for the state of Nevada are really hinged on making sure that your marketing dollars go further with teaching people, I want to share. I am your ambassador. So let's make visitors to Morro Bay your ambassadors so we can make your marketing dollars go a little further.
Wow, I wish I could talk that fast.
The talent.
I'm not that great. We're going to walk into our concept presentation now, but there's a couple things I wanted to say, and this is such an interesting format, so forgive me if so different. But anyways, there's a couple of things I want to share before we show the concepts, and one is that in destination marketing, what I've learned and what we've learned at the Abbey Agency is that people make rational decisions after you've won their heart. That's my experience in working with Visit California. That's my experience in working with San Diego and a lot of brands where people don't have to come to your destination. They just don't. And they can go anywhere, or they can do anything, or they can stay home and do something fun at home. And so we have to inspire them emotionally to get them to make a rational decision to come to your destination. And so that's part one of how we think when we strategize creative. The other one is A lot of destinations think that trails and surfing and things that almost every destination can say is something that's actually a compelling reason why to go to a destination. And so really it's not enough to say we have parks and trails and it's a great family-friendly place to be. You actually have to find something that is true about you and authentic about your destination and your brand so that people can make a heart connection, make a rational connection to come to your place. So the concept that we have today is hopefully going to inspire our consumer to come to Morro Bay for more than just eating or walking on a trail or seeing beautiful birds. But those are things that people will do, but to get them here is another story. So I'm going to read this concept paragraph the best that I can, given how far away it is for me, and then we'll hop into some of our executions. So the first concept is called Follow Your Nature. And the inspiration behind this is that when we discovered in our research, and we are a very strategic research-based company, is that you have really some remarkable things happening here, is that every year whales and butterflies migrate to Morro Bay. And now, not everybody can say that, and I think that that's pretty amazing. And if any other destination can say that, they're not. And that's something that is a compelling why you would come to Morro Bay. We also, in our assignment, we were trying to bring people here at a particular time of year. And so what we're trying to do is find something magical about Morro Bay and bring them here. So the concept paragraph is, for centuries, two of the world's most majestic creatures, both great and small, have undertaken epic journeys in search of renewal and escape. And it's no coincidence that the gray whale and the monarch butterfly have chosen Morro Bay as their destination. With its mesmerizing natural beauty, mild winter weather, and an array of activities, Morro Bay is guaranteed to inspire migrations of the humankind. So we can go to the next slide. So part of our creative process is to create a mood board for our concepts so that people can really understand the intention behind the idea. And we do this before we ever do any executions or concepts. So here what we're trying to do is illustrate that we want people to be small and the animals and insects to be big so that we feel like we're going to have a really big experience at Morro Bay. Butterflies are tiny and you can't really get close to them in that eucalyptus tree. So we have to make it exaggerated so that we feel the power and the beauty that really exists when you're in a grove of eucalyptus trees with butterflies. Next slide, please. All right, so this is our brand ad, and what we wanted to do is, this will probably be a CGI concept where we would actually, in computer graphics, exaggerate the animal so that you could get the concept. So the headline is that the end of their journey is the beginning of yours, and on the top you can see that the ad concept says, follow your nature. I'm not going to be able to read the body copy to that ad because it's just too darn small for my eyes, but the idea is that we are telling the consumer that this is a magical time. You've got to come because this is the moment to come to Morro Bay.
I can go read it. You want me to read it? No. Okay. All right.
We will follow up with the whole digital deck so that you guys can have and see this close up. I apologize because it's small up there.
Yeah. So the little sign off on there says, see you at Morro Bay, but it's spelled S-E-A. All right, next, please. So part of the assignment you gave us was the bubbles and butterfly concept, and that was really fun to work on because what a great opportunity to combine this concept of larger than life, or, we're small, animals and insects are big, with the idea that, somebody help me, the best things come from corks and cocoons. So that's the headline. So what we want to do is really make us feel small and marvel of this moment, which could otherwise be pretty boring. If you look at any of the stock images out there, you're going to notice that butterflies look really small on eucalyptus trees, and they're really hard to see. So we have to do something to make it great. Okay, we're going to move on. And this is for Allegra.
So as we talked about, we never want to just have creative kind of standing on its own. So we've put together a couple of ways that we'd execute this concept through all of our channels. And what I love about this concept is that it really captures a magical side of Morro Bay. It kind of creates this magical place that families can go to. And we know that the audiences we're trying to break into are more of that millennial market here. Millennials, in the traditional sense, are now families. They're parents of young children. And so this magic, this incredible nature and the occurrences that lie within, we feel that that's a really compelling way to pull in those millennial audiences and their children. On social media, we feel that there's a lot of really compelling ways that we can roll this out through advertising. One is this example of a carousel ad. These interactive ads on social media are some of the most engaging formats of content through social media today, and a great way to maximize out budgets as we're putting together advertising online. These are fun because individuals can interact with the actual ad, so they'll see it pop up on their news feed, and then they can scroll through and kind of uncover the magic as they go. They don't expect to see this beautiful whale appear into their news feeds, but as they scroll, it does, and then they're inspired to follow their nature and click through to the website. A couple of other opportunities with social media to extend this campaign. We would definitely recommend incorporating influencer marketing and influencer activations into this effort. That really truly is the way that millennials are taking in content these days, by that authentic interaction with somebody that they trust. So we would engage with nature-focused and tourism-focused influencers, bring them to Morro Bay in those strategic time periods, and have them share out the experiences and how they're following their nature here. And then we'd also love to, social media is a really great opportunity not only to push our story out, but to let users become a part of the Morro Bay story. And so we would put together a series of Snapchat filters, which we've mocked one up over there, where individuals can take photos of themselves and then swipe and have a whale kissing them on the cheek or a butterfly landing on their nose. It's a fun way to not only put out the brand of Morro Bay and encourage people to learn more, but also to have them become part of this story. And then in the digital space, there's a lot of different ways we could put together digital assets to target these out, and our team really believes in tight programmatic targeting. We build out those audiences we want to reach, and then we reach them strategically to maximize your dollars on different websites.
This is just a quick slide to really illustrate how we would take Follow Your Nature and we would put Morro Bay in the middle of that concept, and then how we would use that earned owned paid shared strategy to really amplify that. So as we look from a public relations standpoint, which is where my expertise lies, we really want to look at the visual stories. So video gets shared 1,200 times more than graphic and text on social media. And again, we have to remember we're creating everything so that it can be amplified. Our PR strategy is amplified by our ambassadors. So we would really look at kind of that secret season and that first-person experience of magical nature. And then with content and SEO, the secret guides to Morro Bay, giving people something in their busy lives so that we're guiding them through that experience and leading them. They feel like they discovered it, but really we discovered it and kind of fed it to them based off the personas and the targeting that we discover in our research. 50% of search is organic. Don't forget that. You want to own your audience, not rent your audience. So a digital media buy is very important and plays a big part in that. We're here to make sure that you can own more of your audience with a strong SEO-driven website, content, PR, and social campaign that keeps them there and keeps them within where we want them. Social media, again, Snapchat, Facebook filters, real-time nature coverage. We have our social media director has a degree in film, so we are really able to come within that kind of creative sector. I know we're not pitching social media, but we want to help provide assets and concepts through the creative, because that should lead everything that help your social media amplify. And then experiential, augmented reality, really looking at different types of marketing and different types of advertising. You know, I respect traditional advertising, and that definitely has a place, but as I believe we're looking to target the millennial audience, that younger millennial mom and dad, that 29, 30-year-old that is looking to develop where they want to stay and play, where they want to come back to year after year, we really have to think about ways which are a little bit outside of the box. Okay, 4 minutes.
Right. I'm going to go really fast. Being a typical creative, I couldn't just let it be one idea, so forgive me. We came up with another idea that we just couldn't leave on the cutting room floor, and this concept's called Tomorrow Today. We felt like it would be amiss if we didn't look at the opportunity to inspire people to be spontaneous, because mostly young millennials and older millennials are incredibly spontaneous. We know that they travel with their friends, and they travel with their dogs, and they travel with their kids, and they do that all together, and they do it spontaneously. That's just what the research shows. So this concept is called Tomorrow Today, and I'm not going to read the concept, but I just pretty much explained it. Next page, please. This is our mood board, which is really playful, but it also incorporates, people being together in a really fun way, and it's a little loosey-goosey, and it's pretty creative. Next slide. So the brand ad would be this one. It says your vacation awaits, and the sign-off is Tomorrow Today. People at this age and this generation, they like to hang out in the back of their cars, and they play the ukulele, they drink the kombucha, they have a good time, they listen to their music on Spotify, they're vibey, they have fun. And so we wanted to do that for the brand ad. And the next page is Bubbles and Butterflies, and this is obviously, a whole different look at how to handle this whole concept. It doesn't take on children as much as it takes on the millennial vibe of people being together and creating those micro moments that Allegra mentioned earlier, where people do events specifically for social posting. That's a real thing, and it's really strange, but it's cool because the photos are almost always beautiful. And this is Abby.
Oh, well, this is just, again, we really wanted to show you how when we create a campaign, that campaign lives in every channel. You just can't create one big overarching campaign, creative campaign, and expect that to talk to everybody, especially in this fragmented media market with all these different channels and all these different things coming at you. One thing we are really, really good at is using a persona-driven marketing campaign, really understanding that we have to respect the audience that has been coming here for generations and make sure that we're still talking to them, but our job is going to be cultivating a new audience in a very crowded market and being very respectful of your dollars, whether those are media dollars, whether those are PR dollars, whether those are creative dollars, whether those are visual storytelling dollars. So really understanding how we take what we've done and how it lives on all the different platforms. And this is just how we would take that Tomorrow Today concept and really flow it through, whether it's a UGC campaign, whether it's working with like a Visit California and taking a virtual reality experience to their media markets and piggybacking off that, but really making sure we're standing out as a destination among all the other destinations out there. So this is just kind of a summary of that. And we're down to 1 minute.
Yeah.
Oh, yay, okay, I have 1 minute for PR. 4 types of PR that I believe in. Digital performance-based PR, SEO impact-driven PR. Again, we know that we're targeting the drive markets. We know we have some fly markets that we really want to grow, and we know that if we're talking to the Seattle, that Seattle Post-Intelligencer has a domain rank authority score of 89. 89 means that our website does not have a domain rank authority score of 89. So we want to be able to get our content with backlinks and certain keyword text, or to tag back to stores and to our website to specific pages we've created based off our personas. So again, we are owning our audience, not renting them. PR is brand building, but PR should also be an SEO-driven concept. Endemic PR, understanding we're a small market meetings destination. We have a lot of outdoor activities. How do we really look at those kind of vertical publications and create stories specifically for them? Brand building PR, Sunset Magazine, the LA Times Magazine, some of those bigger Condé Nast, National Geographic, the places we know we need to be in to build that brand. We have to stay there and we have to be present. That should also cross over into SEO impact-driven PR. And then earn social media. Don't let that story die once it hits. Hey, great, we had a story in Sunset. Boom, it's over. Hell no, it's not over. We take that story. We have a targeted strategy on social media and through digital advertising with that credible third-party endorsement, and we use that to enhance it. Again, Morro Bay is here, earned, owned, paid, shared out here. Okay, I think we might be out of time.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. We know we are not from Morro Bay. We are not from Carmel. We are not from Goleta. We are not from Butte. We are not from Murrieta. What we are is tourism marketing experts who've worked at Marin Carson, who've worked at destinations all across the world, who build brands from the ground up. We are experts in what we do. We're happy to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
Woo. Sorry. Yay.
Questions?
Questions? Yes.
A couple questions. One, who's who's the point person who would be coming every month, and how much experience? I didn't see any mention of any reporting, or what's your experience with that and explaining that to people that might not understand it?
Sure. So I would be the main point of contact. I would, as we onboard, our full staff kind of comes out as much as possible, but as far as ongoing efforts go, that would be myself. We did do an extensive dive into our reporting process in the actual RFP, but didn't touch on it today. We typically look at reporting from a few different levels. We look at the channel and tactic-based reporting, which is kind of your month-over-month reports, where we establish our key performance indicators up front, and then kind of group those into these different buckets: awareness, engagement, conversion, based on what we know our main goals are. And then month over month, we kind of report on those on the ground level, how they're performing. We also look at campaign-based reporting. So when we've run an influencer effort, a full-fledged creative campaign, and kind of tying everything together to show the impact of that full-fledged piece. And then we also partner with Carl Rabato of SMG Consulting to undergo return on investment studies. Those are things that we work with him on every 1 or 2 years. It's kind of a higher level view where he's able to look at the data of travelers coming in and the spend of dollars within the region, and then look at the website traffic and put out a survey to see how many of those people who came to the website and then came to Morro Bay, we as the destination influenced. And so he's actually able to pinpoint the return on all of these efforts. So that's kind of the 3 levels of reporting that we look at. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and it kind of leads into my other question. You mentioned a desire to have many campaigns. How do you balance many campaigns with one single brand message?
That's a great question. Michael, do you want to jump into that? Or?
I think the way that we need, was that?
After you go, I'll go.
No, you go first.
Oh, okay. All right. So you have to have your overarching brand, right? We have to really think about that tomorrow, today, that back to nature. But then we have to understand that we're talking to different audiences. And the way that we can really do that is by using your owned channels as well and building up those own channels. So as we develop our 3 to 5 personas, we really look at what different campaigns, when they're in that dreamer stage and then that planner stage, what information we have on your own channels that once they discover that accidentally through really targeted organic and paid SEM and SEO, then we pull them through there. So though we will have one overarching creative campaign, I would be remiss if I did not caution you to really think about those buckets and those personas, because all of us here today are very different people, and we're motivated by very different things, and we're all a potential Morro Bay traveler. So we would really use your owned assets and use a strong content marketing driven strategy and a strong PR strategy coupled with that to make sure that we're putting underneath that girls getaway persona, that we understand from a content standpoint what we want on our web, what we want on our social, and what we want on our PR. Does that answer that? Thank you.
The only thing what I was going to say, sorry, is that with a campaign theme like Follow Your Nature or Tomorrow Today, the campaign idea is so strong that whatever channel you're marketing in, the idea translates. So the idea translates if you're doing, Snapchat filters, or if you're doing some video. As long as the big idea is a big idea and it's true, then how you execute that through creative channels and or creative campaigns through channels is where all the magic really happens, I think.
Good job. Thank you. That was a very nice presentation. I think Don Draper would be proud.
We'll have a martini for lunch after.
Right?
Keep me proud, Dad.
Supposed to give us some scotch or something. I'm trying to understand how this would work. So you mentioned your offices are in New York and Las Vegas?
So our main office is in Reno, and then we have a small office in New York because the media does not exist in Reno, and we need to be there for the media when media events are happening so that we can best represent our client. And then we also have an office in Vegas because we do work for Travel Nevada, which is a statewide account, as well as some other bigger, we work in economic development a lot, so the office in Vegas definitely makes sense down there. But our main office is in Reno.
So someone would drive out once a month?
Yeah, we go to Carmel every month. Sometimes we go to Carmel twice a month. We go to Murrieta a lot. more than once a month right now. I mean, because we focus mainly on California destinations, we understand that travel is a part of that, so we try to make ourselves available to you whenever you need us. We fly into San Jose, typically, and we drive down here, and then I take the 46, right? And then I like to stop at Harmony, and you make it a whole little kind of trip. So yeah, we, please don't think because we're not here that it doesn't mean that we're not accessible, because we understand that that is a kind of a weakness of ours, so we do everything we can to make ourselves 100% accessible.
That would include a good faith effort to attend a lot of the established Morro Bay events, get to know the businesses, et cetera.
Absolutely, yeah. We, as we onboard any new account, we go through a thorough immersion process, and we'll meet with any stakeholders and businesses you think are pertinent and experience as much of the region as we can, as well as come out for events and the monthly marketing meetings. And then in addition to that, my team works really hard to keep any stakeholders, anyone we need to, in tight communication at all times. We put together digital project management tools and systems so that you guys can check in on anything that's going on. We can have a weekly call. We're very, very accessible in whatever way you need us to be.
Thank you.
Good job,
so
folks.
much. Good job.
How did you find Harmony? I mean, that's not exactly the capital of...
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked. So on my 30th birthday, a few years ago, just a couple, my husband took me on a vacation to Cambria, and I was digging in a tide pool, and I found a ring. And he asked me to marry him, and then he had a photographer scheduled at Harmony that did picture, like a really amazing photographer, and we went there right after, and we had our engagement photos taken there. So when the first time I came back to Morro Bay, and I just took the 46, I'm like, oh, I remember that road. And then I stumbled upon Harmony again, and I was like, I'm meant to be here, so yeah, that's why it has a special place in my heart. I'd be happy to send you those engagement photos if you want to see them, just so you know.
Thank you. So what type of time frame do you anticipate to make the transition?
That's a great question. Onboarding. Allegra is the onboarding queen.
Yeah, but I was trying not to use those fancy words.
We typically try to allocate 1 to 2 months. The first month to do really our back-end deep research, immersion, and learning as much as we can. Then the second month to put together kind of that integrated plan and build out the campaign and just get everything ready to go live. So it's typically between 1 and 2 months, depending on how extensive the scope of work is. Absolutely.
I'll just add a little thing there. So part of our process creatively is to be really, really strategic in the front end. So part of the things that we'll do in the very beginning that Allegra was talking about is we'll do a research process where we study the archetypes of Morro Bay as well as the archetypes of the people coming to Morro Bay. And so we try to find common themes of what people, who we are at this destination and who comes here and why. And then we'll develop our personas, and then we go from there and create full-on creative campaigns from that. So that very front part is very, very important from a strategic point of view, so that what happens after that is on point and it makes it a very pleasurable experience for you guys.
I'm just curious, cost-wise, the onboarding time, travel time with the monthly meetings, how's that allocated? Is that part of the budget?
It is, yeah. I believe that we built in line items, and I can verify that today as we send over the deck, but we built in kind of line items for those first couple of months of the research, onboarding, travel, everything in there.
I do just, destinations are very sensitive about agencies coming in saying it's going to cost one thing, and then at the end of the day it costs another. One thing I will say about us, and if you call our references, I hope that you hear this, is that what we say it's going to cost is what it's going to cost. And we're not here to nickel and dime you. We're here to do a good job because we work in the destination marketing field, and you guys are our references. So we really, really try to make it work for all of our clients, and we never want to be that agency. It's like, oh, it's going to cost you this much for us to come here and visit. We are a partner. We hope to be a partner, so please look at it like that, 100%. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good day.
Thank you.
So while we're waiting for the next group to set up, Chairman Yates, I think just on a go forward, probably a good way to do it is start with Member Newton and ask for questions starting on your right and go across so that we don't miss anybody. And if you don't have questions, that's fine, just say no questions, just so we can make sure we account for every board member and they
have the chance to
let's really stay on key to what we need to hear from them as far as our requirements, because we're going to run out of time. I want to go to lunch. So next up is Parker Sampay. They are a local SLO County agency, and they're going to set up a couple boards. And do you want to go ahead and start, or do you want to wait a minute?
We'll wait a minute till,
Okay,
so it's
give
not
us
distracting
like
to you, if that's all right?
30 seconds or so.
Good morning, Morro Bay. We are thrilled to be here and absolutely delighted at the possibility of working with the city of Morro Bay and you fine folks. We love the city. We play here. We enjoy all of its attributes, and we know it very well. And so we're excited to be here to present to you today. Hospitality tourism is what we love, and it's all that we do. My name is Linda Sanpei. I'm the founder of Parker Sanpei, a locally based luxury, lifestyle, and hospitality marketing agency. Our team consists of executive-level team members who all have areas of focus. Some of these members are here today. Your team leader.
I'm Sherry Clark, marketing executive. Good morning, Vanessa Eigel, public relations executive. Good, thanks.
We thrive on bringing success to our clients, and I think the testimonials that you've read before are a tribute to that. How we work is we like to dive in deeply with our clients, really get to know them sincerely. We research your brand, we research you, and we also look forward to getting to know your true pain points and your aspirations. We will then further evolve the comprehensive plan that we're showing you today and implement a multifaceted program that will drive success, tourism, and occupancy to your hotel rooms and raise taxes for the local businesses. We do this all in real-time monitoring so that we can shift our processes to really focus on those that are really working for us, whether it's digitally or with our public relations or with our social media. We do this all in real time and provide you with a report that's easy to read each month. In other words, we'll give you a dashboard that will customize specifically for you. We'll work with you to determine what those elements are, and we'll also give you a long version as well for those of you that are looking to learn more about digital marketing or public relations or are insomniacs at the end of the night. Our core values as an agency really is to fully embrace our clients. We are selective about the clients that we work with because we're a boutique agency, and we want to be sure that it's the right fit for us as well. And with Morro Bay, we are unanimous in being excited about the opportunity. Our primary goals are really to drive Morro Bay as a must-see destination, really featuring all the assets. Oops, I'm not moving forward. Thank you. Must-see destination with all the activities that you have here and really targeting your target audience, the baby boomers, the millennials, and the families. We're looking to drive tourism with both international and domestic and looking to really focus in on our midweek business and our shoulder season. At the end of the day, we're looking to influence TOT and the local economy. When we know we nailed the first two of these key objectives, your other objectives will follow in quick pursuit. Our agency has a full suite of offerings, and we provide a full 360 integrated program, which we'll be showing you here momentarily. We first start with our digital advertising. We believe in a strong presence in the digital marketplace, and we work with cutting-edge technologies that really hone into your customer database and your potential customer as well by building out like clienteles that are targeted through our advertising. This is done through your display campaigns, context marketing, our SEO, geofencing in certain areas, also video pre-roll, audio streaming, and artificial intelligence as well. We've been diving into artificial intelligence deeply because we know in the coming years, 50% of searches will be done by voice. As marketing professionals, thank you. As marketing professionals, we're really data-driven. We're very creative on the front end. We love to conceptualize big ideas, but at the back end, we know that ROI, heads and beds, and TOT is what we're looking for. So we're very data-focused at the end of the day as well. Public relations is definitely a strong suit for us. We have worked with publications and have been successful in publications like USA Today, San Francisco Chronicle, Los Angeles Times, Forbes, Condé Nast, and many others. Our list of A-list media is profound, and we have rich relationships with them. They actually contact us when they're coming to California to see what they can do. We also work with strategic partners on a regular basis, weekly and daily, with Visit California, Visit SlowCal, and other tourism agencies around the country, so that we are keeping our clients in front of them. We're giving them relevant information of what they're looking for, and we're guaranteeing partnerships in the future. So our campaign is really focused on the experiential traveler, those that are looking for experiences, whether they be adventure tourists, if they're looking for a romantic tourism experience or a culinary tourism experience. And we looked forward to positioning Morro Bay as the hub of the Central Coast, so that folks are spending more time in Morro Bay and potentially going up to Hearst Castle or the wine country. But we are going to showcase all of the assets that Morro Bay has, so that they can see that they could actually spend 3 or 4 days and have a full itinerary right here in Morro Bay. We believe in the unique attributes that you have here. The rock is beautiful, but there's so much more. I've enjoyed playing in this area for the last 25 years. I know the nooks and crannies, and I get excited coming to Morro Bay myself. But at the end of the day, we know that for your business, for TOT, we need to drive midweek business. So we have programs that will deliver extended stays. And we also have shoulder season programs that will bring folks here from October through April. And you'll see these with some promotional getaway giveaways that we have that we'll be introducing shortly.
Okay, so how are we going to do all of that within our budget and within our campaign? So we first started our exploration theme by considering your existing tagline and coming up with some ideas on how we could seamlessly integrate into what you already have. And so we believe that we developed a campaign that complements it really nicely, and we'd like to show you that now. So the campaign that we developed begins with this phrase: find your adventure, find your serenity, and find your balance in Morro Bay. We felt like this dovetailed really nicely into Put Life on Coast. And the strategy here is that we can use these examples and similar schematics to highlight all of the many activities to do in Morro Bay. So the ones that are very known, as well as the ones that are yet to be discovered. And the key point with this strategy is that we need to be able to attract people who have never been to Morro Bay, as well as the people who come back year over year, and get both of those groups to extend their stays. And we think that this campaign is an example of ways that we can do that. So a campaign like this would run seasonally, can run for 3 months at a time. The idea being that we're able to incorporate a couple of different ideas to attract those different groups of travelers that Linda mentioned earlier. So maybe you're a paddleboard enthusiast, or maybe you just want to unplug and have a digital getaway. The idea is that we're able to run campaigns in succession that plug in and plug out to be able to attract lots of different travelers and viewers. So other examples of this schematic could be Find Your Courage, Find Your Discovery, Find Your Peace, and we would run these in different seasons, different events, different times of year. We think that the possibilities are really endless in this campaign. We designed it like that so that we could really focus on what's happening and what's coming up next, to always be putting new creative in front of our potential audiences. So by rotating this campaign every couple of months, it really allows us to stay active and in front of our potential visitors. What's most important is that we're then able to measure this campaign digitally and see what's performing well, what's not, which creative we'd like to reuse, which one isn't resonating, so that we can monitor that in real time and then change it really quickly, so that we're ensuring that what we're putting out is something that people are responding to. This creative also has a lot of legs to it. It's one that we're able to use for digital media, social media, public relations, e-blasts, e-newsletters. We'll be able to have lots of different spokes using this as the hub of our campaign strategy. This creative will also help us with our influencer outreach. So by influence, we mean both social media, journalists, and also user-generated content, to give them a focus place that we could then share all of the images and the stories and their experiences that they're having in Morro Bay. So by using either hashtag Find Your Balance, hashtag Morro Bay, we're able to create all of this content and then put it back out via digital advertising, digital marketing, our own channels of social media, e-newsletters and e-blasts, as well as public relations as well. So it's creating kind of a content machine for us that we're then able to recapture. We thought that this was really important because we want to make sure that the dollars and the time that you're investing gets the most mileage possible out of it. And this is one way to do that.
Well, we have covered this campaign, but we know that we also have to schedule some promotions and some tactics that will really address midweek stays, shoulder season, and extended stays in Morro Bay. So we have a few tactics. First one of those are targeted itineraries. Our goal with developing targeted itineraries in Morro Bay is to show people that a 3 or 4 day stay in Morro Bay is completely fulfilling. There are so many things to do, by letting them look at itineraries that we have on the website that they can kind of go through as the traveler types, different discoverers, adventurers, people with kids, people with teenagers, that they can go in and really discover the Morro Bay experience as it applies to them. We definitely have some traveler types identified as those adventurers or discoverers, and this all ties into the campaign. The itineraries will, as I said, be on the website, will also be in a digital space, and to have people seeing the itineraries and knowing the high points of Morro Bay and the surrounding attractions in the county really resonates. They can share them with their friends, say, hey, why don't we go, and we can do this, that, and the other thing. So we're really looking with this itinerary project to encourage them to stay longer and create their own Morro Bay experience. And seasonal promotions, we definitely want to elevate tourism during the shoulder season, and again, extend the stay. So one of the promotions that we have developed is a getaway sweepstakes. We feel that we can offer potential visitors a chance to win a robust 3-day Morro Bay package that provides accommodations, meals, tours, sports rentals, just the whole gamut, a very dynamic getaway package for them. And it's a really big call to action, and you're not only building your database by having people sign up for this sweepstakes, but you're also getting all of this information out to your target audiences. These are all the things that you can do in Morro Bay, and sign up to win. You may win. We would run this monthly from October through March during the shoulder season, and again, we're pushing that 3-night stay so that it's expanding past the weekend. And again, we would be heavy in digital with this, get them, seeing it online, in social media, email campaigns, and newsletters as well. And then one last promotion that we've talked about is basically a 3-night incentive. And this is a promotion that would be book 3 nights in a Morro Bay hotel, and you would be given a sponsored $50 gift certificate that was good for restaurants, wine bars, again, all of the amenities of Morro Bay. So it encourages people to make that 3-night stay because they are getting, basically a cash value back, and to be able to spend it in the city, which also builds business and builds sales tax in the city. We've seen this done in other places, and it's very robust. People respond to it. Travelers still want a deal, and it's an excellent way to attract them. It, again, has a really compelling call to action that we will amplify with digital, email, social media, and also through public relations. You can get some good journalism coverage with a good dynamic promotion like this. All right. And now some really fun stuff. We love the idea of a butterfly festival in Morro Bay. We have gone out to the Butterfly Grove. We've talked to some of the people at the golf course who are very excited about it as well. We know we can effectively market this event to an audience that appreciates educational and inspirational events. Just think. Thousands of butterflies, hundreds of glasses of wine, a beautiful 3-night stay in Morro Bay, the Morro Bay Butterfly Festival. We definitely feel that including the name of the city in the event name will bring us superior optimization and higher recognition. We see the event as a multifaceted opportunity to elevate visitors to Morro Bay and appeal to a really wide range of ages and audiences. So just a quick recap, our thoughts, we would start with a Friday afternoon event, small plates and wine party in the Grove to benefit an appropriate nonprofit, and launch the festivities for the Butterfly Festival. We obviously started it on a Friday to bring people in here a little bit earlier and get them to stay a little longer. As we move into Saturday, we envision a Butterfly Wine and Food Fest that would include vendors from restaurants, jewelry, wineries, craft booths, and more. Just something for everybody, and all with that butterfly inspiration. We also see tying in educational opportunities, such as a local nursery coming in to educate people on planting butterfly plants, the milkweed, throughout the city, and whenever they go home to take it with them there. And also some classes at the Natural History Museum that could tie in with the whole butterfly weekend. On Sunday, we're talking about breakfast with the butterflies, and also have a Morro Bay golf tournament that would be planned on that Sunday morning. So we feel like we can directly impact audience with a really strong digital campaign. One of the parts of that being geofencing similar events. There are some other butterfly festivals throughout the state. We can grab those attendees and then feed them our ads at an appropriate time before the event. Social media will be leveraged really heavily because people love butterflies. I mean, they see that on the screen and they're, where can I go? Where can I see more of that? So we would definitely be hitting our target markets with social. And then some little out-of-the-box ideas. We talked about doing butterfly installations through the city. having artists possibly rendering and creating butterflies that would be placed in different places throughout the city during butterfly season, then those would be auctioned off. That would be an event as well. And I think that would make a beautiful photo opportunity for people coming to Morro Bay and getting socially shared. And so that's our take on the Butterfly Festival, and just really love the idea. So.
So as you can see with this diagram here, our program is very integrated. It starts with the campaign and sub-campaigns as a whole in the center, and really focuses heavily on our digital marketing and advertising as a prominent piece of our campaigns at every level. We then take that into our digital marketing, which includes our e-blasts, our e-newsletters, always touching back to the campaigns that are resonating for that particular season. As Vanessa said, these campaigns of discover or find can be translated in a myriad of different ways, whether it's find your oyster or find your serenity. So these would be interchanged to focus in on that specific season and the attributes that we have during that time, whether it's the butterflies or the whales or golfing. This then dovetails right into our public relations outreach. So the many attributes that we have during those seasons are reasons to bring the media here to experience Morro Bay and get to know everything that we have to offer. This is a natural for our social media outreach, as well as our outreach to the influencers that we can bring to this region. And at the end of the day, it's all measured for direct ROI to your bottom line with concise reports that are easy to read or those that you can spend much time with. In our handout that we'll give you here momentarily, you'll see some samples of reports that we can provide to you from a digital perspective as well as from a PR perspective. This will give you, our goal is to give you year-over-year growth so that you can see that the strategies are working.
So board, we're at the 20-minute mark. So
Okay.
As a board, if you want to make the decision to only do 5 minutes of questions and let them extend 5, you can.
I was just going to touch on the budget briefly, and as you'll see in the handout that we're giving you, and you saw in the proposal that we provided to you, the lion's share of the budget is spent on digital advertising, with some spend in public relations, social media, as well as account management and creative development. We have a range of hours there that you'll find on the budget page as well. And so we welcome your questions either to the budget or to anything else that we've proposed. We're really excited about the possibility of working with you, and I'm open. All three of us are open to your questions now. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Questions from the board? I know we're going to take a minute, but we have a limited time. And questions from the board, I'd like to start left to right with Taylor.
You mentioned the lofty goal of turning Morro Bay into the hub of the Central Coast. Mm-hmm. How do you plan to sell that?
Actually, for us, to me, it's easy because Morro Bay offers so much. It offers relaxation, it offers culinary attributes, and it also offers just sound beauty. And it is geographically so easy to get up to Hearst Castle or to the wine country, either in the Etna Valley or Paso Robles. Go down to Pismo Beach and experience that. It's all 20 minutes away. That's an easy sell.
Thank you.
Besides traditional key performance indicators, are there anything new out there that you can bring to the table that can shine light to our constituents and to our government officials to show what you're doing? Are there anything new out there other than TOT and average rate? I'm just
You're asking specifically about metrics and reporting details, is that what you're thinking?
Mm-hmm. Good. Go ahead.
Yes, we researched the way that your website and how all of the digital advertising would be funneled through how we would see people going to the website, using the website, how long they're staying, and the fact that you have the booking engine, the Jackrabbit engine, on the website, we talk to them as well and know that we can tag that, and I'm not sure if you're doing that now, but it can actually show real conversions, which is something we weren't able to do. You're not always able to do it. Different websites handle it a different way, but with that booking engine, we are able to track conversions right from the top of the funnel down to the bottom. So that's somewhat new. I mean, it's probably been out a couple years, but it's been phenomenal for the hotel industry.
Thank you.
And additionally, with our digital marketing, we can determine who is going to our website, whether it is that millennial or the baby boomers. We'll be able to give you some ROI on who our demographics are there as well.
You had mentioned that your firm specializes in hospitality marketing. Can you expand a little bit in terms of who your client base might be, municipalities, et cetera?
Sure. We focus in on hotels, resorts, restaurants, wineries, and municipalities. Sherry specifically has a broad depth of experience in municipalities.
I have worked with City of SLO, TBID, City of Aurora Grande in this area. So as far as tourism, definitely have the background with TBIDs and destination marketing.
I'm going to speak for our other team member, Fran, who isn't with us today, but she's led tourism and marketing campaigns in Margaret River, Australia. That's where she spent a bulk of her campaign, doing things very similar to the butterfly idea that we proposed. So she's got decades of experience in that.
A couple of things. I love the 3-day itinerary idea. I've always thought we needed to do that and give people guidance on what to do. Specifically, the midweek stays, I think, is where we're so challenged. And you talked about that, and I thought you addressed it well. But who do you see, talking about millennials versus baby boomers, who would be the group you would target on that?
For midweek, I would be more apt to target the baby boomers, the empty nesters that actually have time and finances to travel midweek. Mm-hmm. For the millennials, we'd look for extended stays.
Very good. I think that's all I have. Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you for your presentation. How do you see the foreign travelers fitting into the marketing plan?
Foreign travelers are up immensely, and especially from specific countries such as China. And so we would propose looking at programs where we could attract those by working through Visit SLOCAL and Visit California, work to really bring those tour operators to Morro Bay to experience while they're driving down the 101 to actually pull off to Morro Bay and have a night or two here.
And to answer China specifically, this is a key market that we're really keeping our eye on. We're attending a conference down in Burbank in a couple of weeks. It's specifically targeted on how to bring Chinese tourism to California and the Central Coast region, what they're looking for, what we can plan for, and what they need, not only to book, but to enjoy their stay here. So that's an area where we're really investing a lot of time to get ourselves up to speed, because we understand that it is critical.
And what about the European market?
The European market is certainly key to us as well. We see a lot of folks coming in from the UK currently, and our experience is to best work with Visit California so that we become a great direct funnel and a reliable resource in helping their guests experience our clients.
I have a couple questions, too. So, creative, by the way, the campaign is amazing. I love it. I think it's really nice. You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
So, is the creative in-house, or is that freelance? How do you manage the creative?
Conceptually, it's in-house, but the actual design, we work with several different folks that are not under our roof. Based on the type of design that we're looking for, we know who to resource to.
So, with that in mind, how will you keep consistent? So, if it's out of house, mm-hmm. and then let's say they move, or they're just done with creative, or who knows what, you just don't know. How do you manage that when it's not under your arm?
You know, I would like to say that even if it was under our roof, there's no guarantee that they'll be here next year. We'd like to think they would be. But we've had long relationships with the folks that we're working with, and so we're quite versed also in finding other resources that we can work with.
Okay.
And so that doesn't trouble me at all.
Okay, fantastic. And onboarding, I know you've all know Morro Bay, but we have new hotel owners, we've had stock upgrades, we have new restaurants and owners, so how long will it take you on onboarding?
Our onboarding process is really to dive deep into the Morro Bay and really develop a communications platform. Actually, is a proprietary thing that we do with our agency so that we're communicating at all levels and with the constituents as well as the media and trade, a direct specific platform that everybody is on board with. We would also spend time directly in Morro Bay getting to know all the hotels as well as the restaurants, those we haven't personally met yet, so that we have our arms around the entire constituency.
So how long?
Oh, I'm sorry. To answer that, I would imagine 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. And then my last question was, I know Chairman Yates asked specifically about tourism and hotels, and you talked briefly, I know, Sherry, you've worked with SLO at another agency, but your agency, your physical agency, under your roof, what DMOs are you currently working with, or have you managed the entire account for? Can you
certainly
kind of tell that?
We have worked with the Mendocino Wine Commission. We also worked with the Sonoma Wine Commission, Monterey Vintners and Growers Association to drive tourism wine tourism to Monterey. We did that for 5 years, and we're award-winning in that category. And so with DMOs specifically, I also worked with the slow, well, it was the VCB at the time. So this was the era of John Summer, and I think I worked with the folks here in Morro Bay also to bring media here, and we were quite successful in designing different tour groups that were either harvest focused or gem focused, and were quite successful in gaining media attention during that time. And of course, Sherry has worked successfully with several as well. I'll let you speak to that.
But I was specifically about your agency. Your agency is what I'm trying to, because that was Chairman Yates' specific question.
And I just wanted to make one comment that we currently are not working with any other DMOs.
Thank you. That's what I needed to hear. Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Great. Really nice job. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a great presentation.
It was our pleasure. Thank you so much.
to take a 10-minute break. Charlie, we need Charlie.
We're going to take a brief 6-minute break.
Well, hello, and thank you so much for inviting us to be here today. We're really excited to be here and talk with you about bringing visitors to Morro Bay and hopefully working with you in the future to do that as well. So our agenda for our presentation is we'll go through some introductions of those of us here from our teams and also our companies. We'll talk about the event campaign that was in the RFP. We really are strategically oriented, so talking about how success is measured, go through the priorities in the budget, and then, of course, have some time for questions. Oops. Sorry, pushed it. Don't look at that yet. I'm Mary Verdin. I'm President and Chief Strategy Officer with Verdin Marketing. I've been in the area for 27 years doing marketing and founded my company, Verdin Marketing, in 2003. We're a team of 14 people, full service marketing, and we have clients throughout the state of California.
And I'm Ashley Akers, and I'm a partner and the Vice President of Client Service, and I lead the tourism clients on our agency, and I currently serve on the Visit SlowCal Marketing Committee as well as the Central Coast Tourism Council Board of Directors.
I'm Megan Condit, and I'm the Art Director at Verdin, and I work closely with Ashley to make sure that everything we do visually is on brand for our clients.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Goodwin, and I'm here with Sienna, and we are representing McHugh Communications today, Verdin's partner. And McHugh Communications is based out of Los Angeles. We are a small boutique PR firm focusing on travel and tourism destination communications and wine clients too, all throughout the state of California, nationally and actually internationally too. We have our main location is in Los Angeles. We have offices in Northern California and in New York. And I actually might look like a familiar face to you because I used to work with Verdin. I lived here on the Central Coast with my family for 6 years. And my husband and I recently moved back to the East Coast, and I met Michelle McHugh, and she had invited me to open our new East Coast office on the East Coast. Morro Bay was actually my client while I was at Verdin, and we worked on Morro Bay for 2 years and really loved doing the marketing there. So I have an intimate knowledge of Morro Bay and the destination and the area. So I will serve as the PR consulting strategy lead for Morro Bay, and Sienna will be the media relations specialist, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sienna Spencer-Markles. I'm the PR manager and media relations specialist for McHugh Communications. As Steph mentioned, we are a PR agency. Our specialty is tourism. We work with destinations, DMOs, tourism associations, T-bids, all throughout the state of California. I've been the media relations specialist since the very beginning. McHugh was founded in 2009. I've been with the company for 8 years. And during that time, I've worked regularly with Visit California, CCTC. I think Jennifer Little and I are on the PR committee for CCTC. We've been on some shared emails. And of course, worked with media all over the country to promote destinations.
So Verdon and McHugh have worked together for the last couple of years on destination marketing. So why our team? We have focused expertise in destination marketing and PR. It's a cohesive effort. Even though we're two separate companies, we really do act as one team, and because we have clients together already, that's something that's pretty tried and true. You have one point of contact with all of both companies as one team, but access to anybody on the team as you would need it. We have a history with Morro Bay, as was mentioned. We have worked with you in the past. Verdon is based in San Luis Obispo, so obviously we're just right down the street. We can be here anytime for meetings as needed. And we have a drive and passion for the partnership with our clients as well as each other, and we're very results oriented. So here's a snapshot of just some of the destinations that we work with our respective companies. You can see we have worked with everything from beaches to mountains and everything in between. And because we're really focused on strategy, every single tourism effort that we do is going to bring in that unique sense of place for that specific destination.
All right, so the fun part, you guys asked us to put together an event campaign in the RFP, and so we're really excited to share with you what we envision for in the RFP. I know it was mentioned bubbles and butterflies, so we have a couple changes to that we're really excited to share with you today. So the first thing that we do anytime we come in, whether it's an event or promoting a destination, we really try to understand what is our goals? What do we want to achieve with this event? So for this, we want to leverage the new event to increase awareness and bring more folks to Morro Bay, and of course, increase our overnight stays. So our specific approach, I think that there's one core thing that's a little bit different about us. We really are adamant about making recommendations and not just project managers that just kind of do what we're told and that's how that works. We want to make sure we're doing what's right. And so we looked at the RFP, and for example, one idea was let's have an audience between 25 and 55. Well, what we wanted to do is we really see this event as being something family focused. We'd like to narrow that target audience a little bit and really focus on that family persona that can really come and enjoy Morro Bay. Do it a little bit differently. We know that you guys have the Morro Bay Bird Festival in January as well, and that has a niche audience to it. So how can we really bring in this new opportunity market that we keep hearing on a state level, national level, those families, that millennial mom generation, and try to get them here to experience what we have to offer in Morro Bay. So really narrowing that audience. And it also helps that it is in Q1 and we can have better advertising dollars, we can have more bang for our buck, and it's all within the migrant pattern. We're still, within that period in January to have the event because the butterflies are still migrating at that time. So the strategic event details, the event name, we really liked the event name, Bubbles and Butterflies, but we thought we need to have a sense of place. We want to make sure that people know it's Morro Bay. So we recommend coming up with a name like Morro Bay Monarch Fest. And then we can utilize the messaging and tagline, Butterflies, Birdies, and Beats, which you might have seen in our proposal. So we've had a slight shift in that name, really driving that Morro Bay name in everything that we do. The January 25th and 27th is the date that we're recommending. And as I mentioned, we already know you have the Bird Festival going on, so we don't want to compete with that. We also know there's a really big football game that happens in February, and we don't want to compete with that either. So if we really focus and are strategic about when we do it, we'll hopefully get the most amount of people at this event by really being smart about when we have that date. And then an integrated event promotion strategy. I mentioned Q1, we can have a lot more advertising dollars bang for our buck because it tends to be a little bit less expensive in that time period to advertise and market. So that's one really key piece, but also making sure that there's consistency. So whenever we're messaging about this Monarch Fest on our website, on our social media, we'd be putting together plans. So everything is consistent with the PR that we're doing, social, website, digital, everything. So it's really one cohesive, integrated piece and campaign. So I kind of mentioned that target audience, and I think that really keeping in focus who would really benefit from this event? And we know from the research, you guys have a lot of folks, 45, 55 plus coming to Morro Bay. They love it here. They know about it. There's so much opportunity for other markets to really experience what the city has to offer. So we really see this millennial mom. We know that they're going to be a core audience seeker for California as well as our region, and really targeting her specifically. And we do this by doing it by persona. We don't just geographically target a place. We don't just target by an age group. We really look at the lifestyle and behavior. So for Tiana, our millennial mom, she makes the travel decisions in her household. She really loves the outdoors with her kids. She is busy, and she values convenience, uses social for sharing and exploring what that experience is like with her family. And we hear it all the time. Our job is to make memories. Our job is for every single person, when they come and travel, they have some story to tell. They have some story to tell to their family and friends and everybody else that they wish that, could have that same experience. So making those memories are so important. So let's meet Tiana.
What do I love about Morro Bay? It's this amazing little beach town, just a few hours from my family's house up near San Francisco. And even though it's not very far, it's still a really lovely change of pace and scenery. We've got all these charming shops and restaurants right there. And we usually like to go to the Libertine Pub and get one of their beers before going for a walk on the beach. And we always make it a point to get a picture of that giant rock in the background. And every now and then we will plan for a visit to Hearst Castle, because who doesn't like castles?
So she's a real person. Tiana does come to Morro Bay. She lives in San Francisco, and she's a friend of ours, and we just thought it's great to have it from a first-person perspective, why they love it so much and why they come. So now the fun part, you get to see the creative that we put together, and I'm going to let Megan go over that.
So that was our first look at our creative, and that's a video spot that we put together. It's an example of something that we could run on social or programmatic ads, and the aim of that is really to sell that experience to that millennial mom of what the whole family can do. Part of our research saw a pain point in families where they didn't feel like every single person in the family had something to do, and so we want to show them that that's actually true. You can come and do that here. Next, let's talk about this brand for the Morro Bay Monarch Fest, Butterflies, Birdies, and Beats. As Mary said, we always want to give a sense of place, and so you can see the rock is featured prominently. Anybody that is interested in Morro Bay or has ever been here knows the rock, and so that's the first visual indicator. And then, of course, our super happy and cute monarch butterfly up there. The colors are made to complement the Morro Bay brand with those bright and vivid, warm golds, and then more of the woodsy feel of the Monarch Grove. We took a tour up there. It was so beautiful. And then the whole thing is made to feel handmade, and that's reflecting some of those hands-on activities that mom and dad and kids can do when they come here. And this is an example of a web slider that we would create for your website. Anybody that comes in contact with that would be prompted to book their stay or learn more about it, and you can see it goes really well with the brand and really pops. And then as we were developing this campaign, thank you very much, we just wanted to feel it out. What does this experience feel like? What are these people going to experience when they come here? What are other promotional items that we have? So we actually have one of these for all of you, and we'll give those to you later. But this is a poster that we created. We wove in a bunch of really fun, whimsical copy that goes with the feeling of the event. And you probably can't see it, but at the top it says, "Bring the whole family to the butterflyest event on the Central Coast." So really weaving in some of those fun, family, cute details. And then we created icons that further explain what this this thing is. Butterflies, birdies, and beats. We have golf and music as well. We thought about t-shirts. What could this family take home? We wanted to make some shirts that mom and dad would actually feel cool wearing, but would feel appropriate on a kid's shirt too, and bringing more of that whimsical copy through. They all have living like royalty at Morro Bay Monarch Fest. And then to wrap it all up, after you've done all of your exploratory research on butterflies and seen some live music, and you have all your materials, maybe a Morro Bay visitor's guide, you need a tote bag to take all of that home. So we created a custom branded tote bag for the Monarch Fest.
Thanks, Megan. So to complement the creative, we would also develop a specific PR plan for this event. We love doing PR for events. We consider ourselves experts. We created a Temecula Valley Food and Wine Festival down in Southern California that won the award for Best PR Campaign for Visit California. We've also handled LA Wine Fest for a number of years, as well as food, wine, and family events throughout California. So for this event, the Morro Bay Monarch Fest, we would create a proactive and a reactive media plan. Now what that means is we would actively reach out to media to invite them to attend, and also to cover the event pre, during, and post, and also handle reactive inquiries. So if any media would like to attend or wants to learn more about it, we would handle those. We would also create a customized influencer campaign, which would go along with the social media that you're already doing an excellent job at. I saw that you have 13,000 followers on Instagram, and you are co-opting and sharing influencer content already, so we would piggyback on the great job you're doing with social already. And lastly, we would create media visits and a group press trip around the event. So they would write about it before they came out, they would attend the event, and then write about it afterwards in order to boost ticket sales and heads in beds.
So I kind of mentioned an integrated strategy. Advertising is obviously one piece. We put together a media plan, and that was part of the proposal. And so we're not going to go over that in detail here, but we do have capability in-house where we can purchase digital programmatic buying on a dime. So if there's something that we need to put together, or we're watching the ticket sales and we need to ramp it up or anything, we have the ability to do that in-house very quickly. So that's something that's a little bit special for our agency. Real-time reporting with this new capability, there's a dashboard that we have access to, so we can get real-time reporting at any moment. So we can have it checked, on a daily basis or a weekly basis. We would determine that in kind of that discovery phase of what we want to achieve, and really have a lot of metrics to look at to determine what that success is for us. So we would, in that discovery phase, determine what are those metrics of success, and then how we're going to measure against that, and then monitor that throughout the time period. So we also have so how we measure success, we definitely have a lot of different tools that we use, and we provide reporting, and we have a sample stat summary report that we'll give to you at the end of our presentation to show you all the different details that we include and what those reports look like. So that will be shown to you. But our approach, defining those metrics, what do we want to see, is it just ticket sales? What is the goal for heads and beds? What do we want to, do we want to increase our occupancy by a certain rate? What does that look like? How do we want to measure that? So really, determining that with the board. And then implementing our plan, so we'd put that plan in place and measure it throughout the time period, and then have that report to you at the end of the campaign, or we can do it at the end of a promotion, whatever you guys feel comfortable. We work with that in the intake session to determine what you prefer. So, as I mentioned, we didn't go specifically into the budget for the campaign because that's all in your proposal. This campaign, or this budget, I'm sorry, is specific to the overall contract. And so we wanted to present that today, as I know that was one of the questions. So $330,000 was the contract costs there. And so we've divvied that down to 3 different areas for Verdant. The strategy planning meetings, we'd be definitely involved in here at all of your meetings, your board meetings. We can determine if we need phone call meetings in that monthly basis as a whole team, what that looks like. That breaks down to about 240 hours. Creative execution, so everything visual. We showed you a little bit of the video. Video is so important as we wrap up new creative and really tell that story. So we're definitely going to want to play in that space. So that execution, about 350 hours at $47,000, and then the media buy at $250,000. So that's those hard costs, the hard media costs for our Facebook and digital advertising, as well as any other platforms we see that make the most fit.
And this is the total cost proposal for the public relations for the campaign, and it's not to exceed $80,000. And we really created these buckets based on our best guess, and we would work with you to create a work plan. So these aren't the be-all, end-all costs, but they're fluid. So planning media influencer relations and meetings would be the bulk of the time at 540 hours at $62,000. And the reactive budget, so vetting incoming queries, doing any crisis communication, is $8,000, translating to approximately 70 hours. Our PR hard costs would be these pass-through costs that go through McHugh. So it's hosting any media relations at $7,000, on flights, travel, meals, hosting in-market media, anyone that comes in. And paid influencer campaign that Sienna had mentioned before, really leveraging those influencers and having them create custom content for us, would be about $3,000 spent. So those are the estimated hard costs, but based on a work plan going forward after this discovery phase.
Great. So with that, thank you so much for letting us be here today, and we'll open it up for any questions.
Thank you so much.
I was like, we kind of read that. We're going to go ahead and pass this out.
I'll do the table down here if you want to do those guys.
Yeah. Perfect.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
First, who would be our point of contact?
I would.
Attending all the meetings and
Yes.
reporting? Okay.
But I have a full staff that definitely supports me as well. So if I'm out of the office, for example, I know we're going to be at IPW shortly, so there will always be a representative. I have a team at the office to help me and support me.
Okay. And the second.
I also want to add, McHugh is committed to attending quarterly meetings since we're based in LA. We also always accompany our media visits and our press trips. So someone from our team will always be with media to escort them, show them around, especially at events. And also I want to add, Stephanie is pregnant, obviously. But don't worry about that. When she goes on leave, you'll still have a full travel team with McHugh at your disposal.
When an elephant in the room.
Thanks for that. And then the other question I had is regarding influencer campaigns or social media platforms, how exactly do you intend to reach that millennial mom that you described?
I can talk on the social space. So we know that the Morro Bay team, as we understand, really manages the social implementation. But what we would do is we would help put together a strategy, specifically content related, and then we would do and identify what does our boosting post strategy look like and what does our page strategy look like in that social space. So we would create custom messaging, speaking to that millennial mom, and then we would actually behaviorally target that in social, and then geographically target that probably in our drive markets or in other markets that we determine with the board at that time when we're putting that plan together. So that's in the social side.
Yeah. And on the PR side, influencer campaigns are really kind of the new frontier of public relations. We have traditional PR, which is press releases, reaching out to traditional media to get your stories placed in magazines, etc. Influencers are these kind of new hybrid of writers creating content. Really, their content lives on social media. So there's the social media that we create in-house that serves as a marketing kind of a sales pitch. And on the PR side, the influencers come in and we pay them to create content. They don't always require payment, a hard payment, but that's kind of the trend and the standard going rate. So they come in through their own eyes. They are a third-party endorsement for our event or our destination. We really want them to come in, and we give them parameters of what to write about. We have an event, we want you to cover this, and we have dining, and all of those appeal to specifically to those media outlets. So if we're talking about Tiana, we, on the PR side, think, where does Tiana really get her information? Well, she's in San Francisco, so she probably follows Red Tricycle San Francisco. So we'd bring in an influencer from that media outlet that she really trusts as a third-party opinion, and that's how that works in conjunction with social media.
Any other questions? Thank you.
I have a couple.
Yeah. Bring it on, Jen.
So, what is the markup on media? I'm sorry, I don't have that on my notes.
The media commission? Yeah. It's 15%.
15, okay. And then can you tell me who you guys are currently under contract for DMOs?
Yes, we currently work with Visit Atascadero, and we also work with Ventura County Coast. So similar to the Visit SlowCal that we handle, and our team, both McHugh and Verdon, manage Ventura County Coast together.
Okay. And then, so I have a question on the McHugh side. So you guys mentioned that you would come in when we have press coming in. So in your budget, what are you thinking as far as total number of press visitors?
Yeah, that's a good question. We would have to go through a Discovery Explorer phase to really flesh that work plan out. It's fluid. So if the goal is, sending out 2 press releases for the contract, just for example, and really focusing our bulk of the work plan on media visits, one-on-one media visits or group FAMs, that percentage would look different. If we're not that interested in media visits, if we decide as a group that's not our goal, it would change. So the proposal cost that we have up here, it's just a basic guesstimate of maybe a work plan without knowing your exact goals and criteria. That this is what we'd recommend.
But that had to be based on so many press trips. I mean, you've got a media relations expense of $7,000 that has to be based on assumption of how many.
I would say a 7 is approximately 7 media visits,
So
depending on $1,000 a visit. Depending if we have media come in and they're bringing 2 of their kids and their husband, that price is going to change. But it's hard to get an exact number sometimes. But that's our guesstimate. About, I would say, the hard cost $1,000 per media visit.
That's great.
Yeah, and it definitely can be cheaper than that.
I wasn't looking for that. I just wanted a number.
But we've had influencers visit our destinations for almost nothing. It's that sweet spot of asking our partners to comp, what restaurants we love to work with, all that good stuff plays. Our factors that play into it.
Or depending on where they're coming from too. If they're
absolutely, if they're flying in. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to give you an example of a work plan. Sometimes we would have a quota in a work plan for a contract year, maybe 4 to 6 one-on-one individual media visits and 1 group FAM. Oftentimes we would do the group FAM around your most signature important event. So that's just an example of what we might do in a scope of work.
Okay, great. And then I'm also wondering about onboarding. Yep. So some of you, I know you know the county, you know Morro Bay, but a lot has changed in Morro Bay, especially, we have new hotel owners, we've upgraded stock, so you will need onboarding again. Mm-hmm. How much time do you think, part of you being not in the county?
Well, the good news is we're pretty familiar with Morro Bay from a certain point, but what we always like to do is we have a team FAM where we actually do it on our own and we spend the day. We did that all together in Ventura County as well, and we just go and we try to explore as much as possible. We can work with you and you can show us, what are the new things that you really want us to hit, but we also like to do it on our own to experience what a natural journey would look like for a visitor. Yeah. So we can do that as a 1 or 2 day kind of ultra experience and then kind of decide, if there's anything specific that we want to look at from the team that, the board is really wanting us to understand a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Mickey would be involved with that too. And I gave Sienna a mini FAM yesterday, and she was really impressed with the size of the rock. She thought she's like, is it a boulder? Oh no, it's really big. So it would really be Sienna that would be coming and making sure she's familiar. And since I am based out on the East Coast, I do hold that bank of knowledge, and I would be working closely with her on that content and strategy and making sure we're right on point. But we would really want to immerse her into the destination.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good rest of your day. I'll take that back.
Oh, great. The next group that is coming up is CDA, and they are not in SLO County, but they're pretty cool. I think you guys will enjoy hearing what they have to say. And they match. They matchy today. So fun. Really quickly, while we're waiting for them to set up, I did want to mention the last presenters mentioned about the original proposal, and those are in the back of the room. If any public would like to take a look, there's copies back there for you to see.
Technical difficulties.
just for time's sake, I'll go ahead and introduce CDA briefly, and hopefully we'll get this up. Oh, looks like we are up. So Creative Digital Agency is a boutique firm in San Francisco, California. We have production offices in Los Angeles and Seoul, South Korea. Some of the clients that we've worked with are Voyage Alaska, LA Tourism, Airbnb, Town of Westport, and some other clients as well. We also work with CPG and pharma clients like Merck Pharmaceuticals and Coca-Cola. The team that we're going to be introducing for this project include account manager Kevin Almeida, myself for strategy. We also have video production, creative services, social media, and PR as a part of the team.
All right, great. Thank you guys for bearing with me when we get the presentation all up right. Oh. Yeah, so real quickly, I just want to go through the agenda. We've got a lot to cover, but I want to make sure we get through it in the next 20 minutes. Start talking a little bit about who we are. I'm going to go on a high level through the RFP response that we presented. We were asked to bring a sample of our reporting. We're going to have the budget there for reference if we want to talk about that. We were asked to do a branding exercise for the Bubbles and Butterflies perspective event next February. And then also some additional recommended line items, things we would do if there was an additional budget in addition to the budget that was approved in the RFP. My name is Kevin Almeida. I'll be the account manager on the project. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I work with most of CDA's travel clients as account manager. That includes Pioneer Square Seattle, Westport Washington, Los Angeles Tourism and Convention Board. I've done a little bit of work for Airbnb. Also with me is Jen Kim here, who would be handling additional strategy on the campaign. He's worked with Voyage Alaska, and he's also worked with Discover Los Angeles and Airbnb in the travel sector. A little bit about us, as Jen was saying, we specifically focus on the user experience and the idea of transforming what would just be a commodity or a product into the actual experience, and that always being kind of the strategy that highlights how we present all of our work. We're a boutique agency. We're located in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we have a specific experience in the travel tourism sector, which I just outlined for you. We also moderate the largest third-party ad network on Instagram, which we'll go into a little more detail later, but that's a pretty significant thing for the travel industry as well. Lastly, our creative work has won numerous awards, and we've even directed and produced a commercial that aired during the Super Bowl a few years ago. Can you scroll up a little bit? All right. Our PR partner for this project would be Glow Down Need Communications. They're a San Francisco-based PR agency, and they have a specialization in travel, tourism, and hospitality. Some of their destination clients include Sonoma, Napa. They have a really big presence in wine country, also in Tahoe, Ghirardelli Square in San Francisco, and a huge variety of restaurants and luxury hotels all up and down Northern California. Now I'm going to quickly go through a couple samples of our work in the travel sector. For Pioneer Square Seattle, we ran a pretty exciting campaign for them for the past several years, driving foot traffic. And so obviously it's a neighborhood, a historic neighborhood within greater Seattle Metro. What we were able to do is really boost people coming there and increasing shopper value and restaurant value through these unique digital experiences we created. We actually curated what we call a choose your own adventure mobile experience, which was a really successful ad campaign that had a 50% click to conversion rate, meaning 50% of the people who clicked on an ad actually converted and took them up on this fun adventure. We've been working with the town of Westport for the last several years. The big win for Westport was audience personalization and segmentation. So we're doing one-to-one communication with everybody in Westport. So basically what that means is we take this small beachfront town in Washington, and by focusing on unique audiences, unique experiences that Westport's able to offer, we're able to dramatically increase advertising engagement. For example, really granularly targeting surfers around the amazing surfing. I know you guys have amazing surfing here in February too, Jennifer was telling me. But by focusing on different audience groups, segmenting, personalizing, really increasing performance that way for the past several years. And for Voyage Alaska, we put together a co-op program with local businesses for them that involved a turnkey mobile coupon solution. So basically, we're able to get local businesses buying in and helping support the ad spend, and by promoting these businesses, we're also promoting Alaska that way. Just going through some of our creative work that we've done here. This is for Tourism Jasper in Canada, and Travel Alberta, also in Canada. Keeps not aligning. The Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco, up by where we are. and many more. If we go into the work of our PR partner, Go Down Need Communication, they specifically have done lots of great PR for Sonoma Valley, targeting a similar demographic to who we would like to bring into Morro Bay. See some of the media that they've won for that client here. Ghirardelli Square, again, is another example we're going through here. Maybe we just scroll down to center it. I think we'll get, yeah, thank you. And then lastly, of course, Napa Valley. Really saturating Northern California. A great thing about them is, in addition to just specializing in this kind of luxury clientele, they've done a really great job specifically in promoting the off-season. So we were talking with them the other day about off-season overnights, and they say a really great strategy that's worked for them is to tell a story where you brand it not as an off-season, which doesn't sound good to anybody, but as the secret season. So if you're talking about a destination, which is a great fit for Morro Bay, where it's this idea of kind of coming here at a time when it's not Santa Monica or something that's going to have 10 million people, it being something that's special and unique to you, which actually aligns with our overall strategy for the RFP. So I'm going to go through the RFP now. So a little bit of context before I get into this. The travel industry as a whole, last 5 years have been hugely disruptive for the travel industry, right? We've seen massive upticks, not just in travel overall, but especially for small destinations, small to mid-sized destinations. For example, Wanaka, New Zealand has seen like 15% year-over-year growth. They're this tiny little town in New Zealand. And the big reason for this has been a cultural change in why people are traveling. People aren't just going for the best food and the best hotels or to see the big landmark anymore. Travel has become a part of the way people are expressing themselves. And really, it's been the maturity of Instagram specifically as a channel that's driving this. So as people are getting the ability to share their experiences and communicate themselves through their experiences, that's really driving attention to specific destinations that offer a specific, unique experience. And that's kind of informing our high-level strategy that we want to bring to Morro Bay. Right now, looking over your initiatives, there's a big emphasis on direct response, right? Coupons, offers, getting people in right now in the short term, especially people who are already aware of Morro Bay. But we see a lot of room for growth in awareness. We looked over the study that you guys provided. We actually ran our own study up in the Bay Area, and anecdotally it aligned exactly, which is that people over 50 are overwhelmingly aware of Morro Bay, and people under 50 overwhelmingly are not aware of Morro Bay, unless they went to school here and know someone who went to school in SLO County. And so really, that's an audience that's valuable and untapped. And we want to have a strategy that brands Morro Bay, that creates personality and awareness and this kind of uniqueness that is going to get people talking about it and knowing about it and interested in it. And at the heart of that is going to be really high quality creative production. And that's going to be creative production, not just looking at the rock, but the unique culture and features and sights and sounds of Morro Bay here. A high level of artistic polish, something that tells a clear story about what you experience, what culture you experience when you get here, all while being mobile friendly, right? Really focusing on mobile as our primary delivery mechanism, because that's really where people are going to get inspired for travel these days, not on their big desktop screens anymore. And what we want to de-emphasize is activities like that can be found closer to home. If I live in San Francisco or Los Angeles, what don't I have to drive to Morro Bay to experience? And de-emphasizing that in the messaging. And also de-emphasizing this something for everyone messaging. What we mean, this is great because it's inclusive and it includes a wide variety of unique and diverse people, but you have to be careful about it because it does run the risk of making Morro Bay itself seem less unique. And that uniqueness is really the key thing that we need to change. And this informs the whole strategy. So for paid media, we want to change the way that we're tracking digital spend specifically. We're not just tracking clicks to the website. We're actually looking at what we call purchase consideration. This is something we do for all our clients. So it's things like looking at hotels, weather, driving directions, actually attributing that to the ad spend. So this ad dollar drove this purchase consideration. And then we can actually see where the ads are relevant, where they're not, and optimize spend that way. As I said earlier, we moderate the world's largest third-party Instagram ad network. Now, I talk a big game about Instagram, but that's just because That's where people are going to get inspired for new travel ideas. What this means is we have relationships with a lot of publishers in the travel sector who specialize in that interest, and we're able to reach an audience of over 20 million people who are specifically travel enthusiasts. And the content is published by the publishers themselves. It's not an ad that shows up in your Instagram feed. The publishers themselves actually run this content, and so it gets this halo effect of people saying, hey, this is a publisher I like, they're talking about Morro Bay, it must be exciting. And that's something that we have exclusively to us. Additional considerations, Highway 1's reopening. We want to make sure we're celebrating and driving awareness of Morro Bay as we're reopening a major traffic artery into the city. So we want to run transit and out of home around Highway 1. Make sure we're celebrating that. And then real quickly, a couple channels we want to deprioritize. LinkedIn. There's other channels that are more cost effective that give you the same targeting. And then print. Print looks beautiful, print feels beautiful, but it's just gotten diminishing returns in the past couple of years. Our social media approach is really looking at areas to grow and extending the content being published on social media beyond just being another PR channel. It's not just a promotional channel, looking at social media owned properties as a place where people can go to be inspired and find inspiration. And part of that is content production, delivering a lot of high quality, high polish, bite-sized content. You see a lot of the photos that we're scrolling through here. These are all our own photos that we've taken for clients. For email, we'll do a full refresh, an HTML redesign. One of the things I noticed about email, it doesn't seem to be tailored to different groups. So a local was reading the same email as someone who lives 100 miles away. So we want to basically put together a best practices guide and 2 designs, one for locals, one for people who live further away, that's going to have different content that's relevant to them. You know, if I'm looking at something that's really relevant to locals, it's exciting to locals, great, but am I going to drive there from Los Angeles? And what story do I want to tell the people in Los Angeles? So making sure we're making a difference there. And then just in general, having events, messaging, promotions that are specifically about driving overnights. It's not just about driving visitors, because I can stay in Pismo Beach, right? So why do I need to stay in Morro Bay? Well, part of that is events that happen in the morning or in the evening, not just celebrating the middle of the day, because then you have the day trip option. So on a strategic level, we want to look at that. And then for midweek overnights, really curating multi-day experiences through bloggers and influencers that target people who can make midweek visits in the off-season. That's a specific niche group that even can do that. And lastly, local consultation. We can have all the greatest marketing in the world for the town, but if people have difficulty actually booking a hotel or finding the right hotel that they like, that's an obstacle we want to be able to get ahead of. So auditing the digital presence of local businesses like hotels and providing recommendations on how they can improve their conversions as well. We've done something similar to this with Airbnb. We do about 24 video productions a month for local businesses all over the world for Airbnb. All right, that's the end of the RFP. I'm going to quickly go through our sample reporting. This is just our general reporting. Obviously, it's customized for each client and each campaign. We start every month with like an executive summary, insights, recommendations, things that we want to do next month and what we learned, what worked, what didn't work. We go into a performance page. This is all the nitty-gritties of the performance, but you can see every campaign broken down by every channel and all the performance that we're getting, all the spend we're getting, all the way across the board. We have an audience breakdown where you see the demographics that you're reaching, who's with each different campaign, all the valuable information in terms of their personality, their interest, their location. Social media engagements all added up and collated and presented side by side. Same for search campaigns. That's probably going to be your highest performance digital channel, I would think. And then creative comparisons. So as we're running multiple creative variants, we want to see what people are actually responding to. And that doesn't just tell us how to use the ad spend for this campaign, but as we do our periodic refreshes throughout the year, tells us what to do in the periodic refreshes as well. That's why it's all data-based. And lastly, we get month-over-month performance. So you can see how things are performing month-over-month, side by side here. And then we'll have additional, I know you guys use Adara, you do probably impact studies. So any kind of third-party integrations or partners, we have additional information for that as well. This is our budget. I think you'll have in front of you. We made a couple small adjustments, same costs, same line items, just to make it easier to read. We can go over this probably more in the Q&A section. And then the next section I want to go into is the branding initiative, branding butterflies. We were asked to do an overview of how we would brand Morro Bay around this event. Obviously, the butterflies are gone. We couldn't take any photos of the butterflies. These are all stock images, just fair warning. So I want to start off, if we're asking how do we brand Morro Bay, is with a question, what do you wear in Morro Bay? I want to turn it around. Does anybody have an answer to that? What do you wear in Morro Bay? Orange? It's good. It complements all the blue. It's great. It's just kind of a silly question, and why do I ask that question? Well, if I was to ask you, what do you wear in Hawaii, you would have an answer off the top of your head, no problem, right? You wear a Hawaiian shirt, you wear the leis. What do you wear if you go to Santorini, Greece? You have these beautiful white shirts. But who cares? Why does it matter what you wear? Well, it's part and parcel of the whole kind of strategic and creative approach you have to travel in general, right? People don't really travel for just for activities and food and things to do. They're traveling to experience something, to experience a culture and step out of their daily life and put themselves in another culture. Especially if you're talking about people who have a beach 10 miles from their house, right? If I live in Los Angeles, I live by the beach. If I live in San Francisco, I live by the beach. What am I escaping from? And you're escaping into something unique, a unique culture. That's why you would go outside of your house. And this is really picking up with people all over the world. You look at especially people under 40 and social media, escaping and telling a story of yourself and the experience you're having as part of your travel is really a huge thing. 61% of millennials participate in experiences just to share it on social media. No other reason at all. For example, using a restaurant up here, you see an older generation, over 40, you probably care about mostly the quality of the food, the service. If you're a younger generation, the visual experience of it is huge. What does it say about me that I went here? Hashtag food porn. A little more evidence backing this up. Anybody here have a unicorn frappuccino last year? Anybody? They were disgusting, and everyone agreed they were disgusting, and they sold out all over the country, and they drove a ton of earned media. They got 250,000 people made YouTube videos about them because it was this unique visual experience you could only get at Starbucks. You couldn't get it at any other coffee shop. It was different, it was weird, it was cool, and you could post about it on social media. There's examples you can find like this all over the country. And this is an audience you really do want to hit, because as I said, they travel more often than older audiences. So whatever our branding is going to be, it really has to be universal. We have to include everybody in how we're doing it, something that's going to appeal and resonate with all ages. So that begs the question, why travel to Morro Bay? What can't you get closer to home? Santa Cruz, Monterey, San Diego, Redondo Beach, Santa Monica. Why should I pass all of those places and come here? The Morro Bay experience is relaxing, it's natural, it's authentic, and it's quirky, and especially in the off-season, Morro Bay can become my place. That's something Santa Cruz can never offer me. I'm never going to say, oh yeah, Santa Cruz, that's my place that I go. You want to know who I am? I'm the guy who goes to Santa Cruz. It's not a special place. A lot of fun stuff in Santa Cruz, been a bunch of times, but it's not special in that way. Santa Cruz is great. I've been to Santa Cruz a million times. Maybe you live there. We're not talking about people who live there. And so, if it's in my place, then what is this personality? What is this unique presentation you want to do about Morro Bay? Well, everyone on our team agreed when we came to visit that Morro Bay felt very much like this kind of fairy tale escape, kind of out of time, right? It felt like time just doesn't exist here. It has that kind of Hawaii island life vibe. And that timelessness really fits in with kind of what's on trend right now. Things that are in a very good way, classic, timeless, vintage, retro, but in a very positive way. I mean, just look at pop culture. This is for all ages, right? What's the hottest thing on TV? What's the newest thing on TV? What's the big movie coming out in a week? These are not new ideas, right? This is a celebration of what has come before and this kind of timeless value that it has. So what do you become when you visit Morro Bay? Getting back to what do you wear in Morro Bay? Well, you become this kind of timeless version of yourself, disconnected from time. It's peaceful, it's relaxing, and it's kind of fun and cool and quirky and has kind of a vintage feel to it. So how would that then tie into bubbles and butterflies? Well, first of all, we don't want to call bubbles and butterflies. We want to call it breakfast with butterflies, because I want to, first of all, drive overnights. If I spend the night and have to get up for breakfast, I'm going to stay here in Morro Bay. But also, that takes advantage of the natural fog that you're going to have here in February in Morro Bay to create this kind of subtle fantasy fairy tale feel. We went out and visited the Grove. Thank you very much for showing us a while ago. And that was what we took. We said, hey, here in the middle of the golf course, it's like we're in this little fairy tale thing, and you can just imagine outdoors, eating, having a nice breakfast outdoors, surrounded by all these butterflies. This kind of amazing escape from reality that you would have doing that. And so the aesthetic would be to give it a kind of a vintage feel, tie it into these kind of ideas of peace, nature, and escape, and freedom, and getting away from the stress and the daily grind and the busyness of the big city. I think I'm almost at the end of my time here. Real quickly, I want to go through additional recommended line items if we were to have more budget here. Number one, we want to put together a mobile coupon circular for you guys. This is something we've done for a bunch of clients. Everybody loves it. You guys are already doing coupons. We looked at your coupon booklet. This just gives you a much easier, more trackable distribution channel, and it's turnkey. So you're going to have about 10 times higher redemption with digital than you will with print coupons. It costs nothing to distribute. I mean, you have to promote it, but the actual distribution is free because it's digital. It's more user-friendly. They can save it. You can get it on any channel. They can share it. And it's actually safe. We can use single-use codes, meaning each unique device that gets a coupon gets a different coupon code. So there's no worry about it getting out of hand and you having a million coupons in the market. You're suddenly on the hook for redeeming. You only have to put out as many as you want, and you're safe. We want to put together what we call personality landmarks. This is going back to giving it that unique personality. Right now, if you come here and want to take a selfie of the rock, great. But we want to have little kind of unique pieces of personality, building things that are out of the ordinary, uncommon. As you're going up hiking on the nature trail, give you a big visual reward for getting to the top. The view is beautiful, but put something in context next to the photo. You know, it would be hilarious if you got up there and there's a giant VW bus up on top of the nature trail that you're taking a photo with. Something that people will really open their eyes if they see that picture and go, wow, I got to see that. Where's that place? Also, this is a big line item, but it's a big success story we've seen in the past is putting together a digital sweeps promotion. So this is something where, in addition to your traditional sweeps, you're actually able to promote it on your digital channels and deliver instant rewards. So instead of somebody having to wait 6 months to find out if they won the sweepstakes, and they do it once, you're able to drive habitual engagement. So if someone comes back every day for a chance to get an instant reward that they can get right there, because it's delivered via digital channel. This is actually one of the most successful campaigns we've ever run. We ran it for Chiquita around the release of the Minions film back in 2015, I want to say. This drove 240,000 hours of consumer attention, about 9 million user sessions. We doubled the size of Chiquita's global newsletter in 6 months running this campaign. People came back every day to play these games. There's little games, engage with it, and you get some kind of little instant prize, in addition for the promise of a big prize. But you got to sign up for the newsletter for a chance. So it was a way of staying top of mind with the audience. And then this would be the budget breakdown for an additional $200K, how that would break across. And we'd also leave aside some line items for additional PR and creative work because we think that would really benefit as well. With that, I know I had a lot of trying to get through without the extra 5 minutes, but open it up for Q&A. And Jen's here as well.
Great. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation.
Thank you very much.
Questions from the board?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. Number one, great job with the secret season and the focus on youth to fill some of those off-season weekends. But if midweek is a major focus of ours and millennials work during the day, how do we address that?
Well, 2-part answer. Number one, yeah, most millennials work during the week, but especially in San Francisco and LA, which are 2 big feeder markets, you have a lot of people in the gig economy. That's just growing, and there's no signs that it's not going to keep growing. So I would definitely at least target that audience as a potential audience, bringing them in the midweek. Yeah, do you want to come up here? Yeah, let's just hang out. We'll be microphone pals. I know. I was thinking, what are you wearing Morro Bay? Somebody's like, are you guys like Bible
we're matching by chance.
No, he usually wears a gray suit. This wasn't planned.
But yeah, I think you raise a valid point. But those are challenges that all the markets that we've serviced in the past also face, and it hasn't been an inhibitor because if you have off-season deals and you target the right audience at the right time to lead up to that, and you drive enough value during peak season to justify coming out and taking PTO or whatever it may be, millennials are eager to travel. I mean, that's what our base learning is. So whether that's during work days, over the weekend, long term, they'll go there if they really see a value in it.
But to touch on what you're talking about, older audiences, obviously that's your bread and butter. The last thing we want to do is alienate the existing audience. We're just talking about where we would have room to grow. In terms of driving midweeks for that audience, it's still kind of a similar story. It's about curating a multi-night story and targeting the people, even older, I mean, I guess you're talking about retirees, but even older people still work during the week. It's finding the right people, then finding the right channels where you're able to target those people. If we're just talking a digital story, for example, you've got travel sites and you've got Facebook. Are both great ways of reaching that generation and still giving you the granular targeting where you can say who's retired, who's not retired, or who has a flexible hour week when I can reach them, or who's previously visited Morro Bay in a midweek and is interested in coming again if we promote the right deal. I'm talking a lot about branding and awareness. Again, that is a big effort to grow into, but we don't want to eliminate direct response. That's how you're going to get repeat visitors, right? It's just an area to grow into that we're saying. So just to clarify on that.
And I had one other question, just because you're the only agency out of the 5 that has experience with Airbnb. Is there, because hotels are paying for this entire process, is there something that you've learned through your experience with Airbnb that can benefit hotels that are trying to put heads in beds rather than the market as a whole?
Absolutely, you could
Sure.
talk pretty well with that.
I think it lines up pretty consistently with our direction here, strategic direction of focusing on experiences. That's what Airbnb's new direction with working with individual business owners was all about, was rather than just focusing on hosting stays at a location, it's all about creating experiences and getting them to have a joint kind of cultural experience around that.
Right, but basically the same question of why would you go to a privately owned family restaurant versus a chain restaurant, right? And it's that unique experience. And so that's kind of what we've exactly done for Airbnb, is putting together photo and video productions that celebrate the uniqueness of each local business in the target markets that we're looking at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
I have a question. We talked a lot about millennials. We've talked a lot about digital marketing, which I really like. But are you thinking that we need to focus on a certain geographic area? For instance, Bakersfield. Everybody wants to get out of Bakersfield. Or are you thinking in terms of how would you market to Europe or the Asian markets, for instance?
Sure. I think we want to do a deep dive of the ad data from your previous campaigns to be able to answer that. Currently, we were just basing it off of Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco markets. But again, that's not to say we're limiting it to that market. That's just coming into it with the information we have right now.
Yeah, transitioning to people who have high discretionary income that can spend more when they do come to visit, but they're still in relevant proximity from the time they land. We did review the data from the overseas. It looks like Germany. I'm curious to know as we get into the discovery process, like why Germany loves Morro Bay so much versus other countries. But I mean, obviously there's something that has caught on there, and identifying that is a big part of that.
So a couple more things. You mentioned purchase consideration with hotels. Can you just go into that a little more for us?
Sure. So that's something that specifically we'd probably work with your new web designers on, or the web team, or whoever's I don't know who
Simple
staff
View.
is going to be. Yeah, no, I know, but I know who's going to be
internally.
moderating the website if they're going to continue supporting it or staff. We work directly with the web team on that when we're setting up ad campaigns, or we would build our own landing pages depending on the campaign. And what that means is somebody clicks on an ad. We use what's called UTM tracking, which is basically you appendicize the website address that they're being directed to when they click on an ad, right? And the way you appendicize that, actually, you can look at your reporting and see where they came from. So when you're looking at all your website information, what activities did they take? Well, I can see that the person from this ad spend took these activities. And then when I'm putting my report together, I will weigh it that way. I'll look at those conversions. So I'll say, hey, a person came to the Morro Bay website and checked the weather. Well, you don't check the weather of someplace if you're not considering going there, right? You're not just curious about the weather in Morro Bay for no reason. So I click on an ad or I view an ad and then come there. Well, I can then attribute that ad to somebody now being interested in coming to Morro Bay. And so that gets you a little bit closer to the bottom of the sales funnel of that kind of holy grail of saying, hey, I spent this much on ads, how much of that turned into revenue? Obviously that's tough to do exactly, but the closer we can get, obviously the more information we have on how to spend ads moving forward.
Sure. Okay, and that's kind of what we do now. We do landing pages for specific campaigns or offers so we can track them through. So my other question is, you mentioned taking our passport and making it electronic. So right now, the reason why we've done it hard copy is so that we can track it, and it requires a hotel stay. So the big thing that the board has really worked on, and we hear from city council, is how do you track these people to actually booking rooms? And so we've tried to put in place added values that are specific to hotels. So when you make it electronic for anybody that's in market, how do we lose that focus on strictly tracking that they've been at a hotel, or what's your thought on that?
You wouldn't track distribution of the coupon, you would track redemption of the coupon.
Right, but anybody in market, so it could be a day, somebody here for the day using the coupon, they wouldn't necessarily be staying in a hotel.
So there's a few ways to limit digital coupons. You could limit the way that people access it by gating it, and you could gate that via purchase, or through an email, through a text message. So there's a couple of different options for gating for them to access, and if you limit the way that they can share these, that could also be a way that you could control the distribution of them.
Okay. And then my last thing is, on the end of your presentation, if I'm right, you said there's an additional 200,000 above the 410, is that right? Can you break it out for me again? Just because
Sure,
we went
that's just
so
for these
fast,
final,
I just
so
want
to clarify, that's only for these final line items.
I can't read them. If you can just give me a verbal so I can write them down, so that we can talk about it at the board.
Sure. So we're recommending, it would be a 25K spend for turnkey development of the digital coupon circular. So that's the creatives. It's also the delivery platform of the coupons going out, and then the redemption platform that businesses would have on their phones. And then tracking and reporting as well. Putting together selfie landmarks. And this is obviously a little bit of a fluid number because it'd be contingent on what we discussed during the discovery process. We're saying approximately $35,000 for construction and promotion of that. The digital sweeps campaign, if we were to include pricing as well as development, $100,000 for that. And then we wanted to add an additional $20,000 each to creative production and more PR. Because those are just areas that you're just going to get results from.
Great, thank you so much, that helps. My eyes aren't that good.
Yes, sorry, I'll increase the font size next time.
Thank you guys so much. Great presentation.
I did have just
One more
real quick.
question for me?
Yeah, just, and it's one that I didn't ask because Jennifer typically does with the other groups, is the onboarding. What would you estimate your onboarding time to be for this?
Ooh, that's the most difficult question we received so far. We estimate right around the 6 week to 8 week time frame for onboarding, but that really depends on how quickly we can access information. So a lot of communications is contingent on that. But 6 to 8 weeks, I think, is a realistic time frame.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That would be wonderful. If not, we've got bodies with hands. Yeah. Long day for you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Pardon me? Oh, yeah, we're timed. We're 20. Okay.
Okay. All right, well, yeah, let's just go ahead and start then.
Sure.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start. That's okay. Hi.
Catch up when we do.
I'm Bill Stansfield. I'm the president of Mental Marketing, and I want to thank you all for having us here today. We're honored and pleased and very excited to present today. I'd like to introduce you to the team. I have the VP of Marketing, Mary Ann Stansfield. She's also your account executive. And I have Michael Kirby, who's our creative director, as well as Mark Elterman, who's our strategic development. Donna Wolf, who's your account coordinator, and we have Travis, our social guru, if you will. So I know we're limited on time, but Mary Ann's going to be covering successes in the year of change, as well as brand campaign and why mental marketing. So without further ado, Mary Ann.
Thanks, Bill. Hi, good morning. Mary Ann Stansfield, VP of Marketing at Mental Marketing. As Bill said, we want to kind of speed through this. We don't have a lot of time, but we have a lot to say and share. Our goal today is to convince you guys to continue working with us. I think continuity in the marketing programs that we've already established is really important, and we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit. We definitely have been through some years of change with upper management at the city staff level that has resulted in the hiring of Scott Collins, which is fantastic. We have been working with the tourism agency through the change of bringing the tourism board into the city, which was resulted in the hire of Jennifer Little and her team. Been great working with them. And then, of course, the changes that Mother Nature has thrown at us, from rains to mudslides and fires that actually caused 3 roadways leading to Morro Bay to close in that first year of our contract. All that aside, we still think it's been a huge success. And we were actually hired in 2014 as a PR agency. And during that time, we gave context to the platform Discover Your Better Nature, which was the brand at the time. And in that, we built a narrative about how Morro Bay saved its small commercial fishing fleet from collapse. The industry had collapsed in the 1990s. They worked really, really hard to bring it back. It's such a economic essential to this town, this community, and to tourism, as we know that tourism was really built by Morro Bay beginning as a fishing community. And so we wanted to make sure that that narrative was getting out there to the media and growing and helping us grow brand awareness about what Morro Bay offers. We also got messages out about how Morro Bay is a value-oriented coastal family destination, a multi-generational destination for family reunions and groups, and a wedding destination for groups, honeymoons, romantic location, as well as offers culture and museums and art and adventure, dining, and lodging at multiple price points. We have luxury boutique properties, we have more budget-friendly, smaller properties, and mid-range properties that really accommodate most any budget for our visitors. As well, we built relationships with Visit California and Slow Cal, which are essential. When you look at the sales funnel, you know, the estate, then we have a regional board, then we have a county board, and then, of course, the city. So it's super essential that we built those relationships, and we've been working with them for 4 years now, and helping leverage Morro Bay and educating our partners on Morro Bay. We also developed the first visiting journalist program and social media influencer program, and if we had our thing up, I could show you stuff. But we've worked with Sunset Magazine, Travel and Leisure, Country Living. We've brought some really top-tier publications and journalists and social media influencers to this community. In 2016 is when we were hired to do the marketing, and so then we integrated marketing and PR. Last year, or in the past 6 months, the City Council approved a new logo and tagline. We promoted new programs and events with Morro Bay Tourism in the group. You know, all the passports, all the new events. It's been a really great partnership. We drove shoulder season and midweek bookings that increased occupancy and TOT. We created compression to bolster RevPAR and ADR. We went after higher income audiences. We sat down and Jen and I analyzed the profiles of the people coming and how do we go after a higher end visitor. And I think we've been successful in that, and we only have a lot more to do on that. Continued robust visiting journalist program and executed effective crisis management programs when those highways closed. We got the word out, Morro Bay was still open for business, and we still made good numbers, and we're really proud of that. Let's go, and here we go, yay. And so the results from 2016-17, the overall TOT was up 5.75%. So that's across the board, including vacation rentals and RVs and lodging properties. We feel that the monies that we spend on your behalf also rise the tides of all the boats in the community, as we all know. And so we look at that number as an overall number, and we're super proud of it. But we did break out the other numbers for lodging specific, which was up 3.17% TOT, and then occupancy, ADR, and RevPAR were all up as well. And we're really proud of that in light of all of the challenges that were laid at our feet during that time. So where are we now? 2018-19 brand campaign and strategic brand or plan focus. The general plan is almost complete, and Morro Bay Tourism is ready to develop a long-term brand strategy. We have worked with really talented companies that are adept at that, of developing 5 to 10-year brand strategies, or strategic plans, I should say. We've worked with, and we're happy to recommend a group or the partner in that, and we're happy to work beside them to get you to that place while we're working to launch your brand and do your marketing. You guys are poised to launch your brand and incorporated the strategy into digital marketing, including the new website, which is going to be starting soon. So I think right now is a pivotal point. We want to keep the continuity. We would love to ask your business to keep us as your agency so we can see this through together. And now what I'd like to do is pull up Mike Kirby, and he's going to talk about the brand strategy we have planned for Morro Bay.
Good, still morning. Okay, good morning to y'all. Thanks for having us. Probably heard maybe too much about branding this morning, I would think, at this point. But we have a very simple approach to it. We have 2 parts to the way we approach branding. First part is our brand promise. Basically, you got to make a brand has to make a promise to a consumer, to the target, and you got to fulfill that promise. Otherwise, they hate you and will never listen to you again. So when we say put life on coast, what we're promising is that Morro Bay offers a slower pace, small town charm, the calm yet vibrant feeling that the ocean brings, which is why I love it here. And we acknowledge that vacations are a personal thing and that family is everything. And when we talk about family, just so you know, we're not talking about mom and dad and buddy and sis. We're talking about grandma and grandpa, of course. We're talking about aunts and uncles. But we're also talking about the whole universe of family that every person has. If you think about the TV show Friends, those people were a family to each other. And when we think about that type of family, we want to get groups of friends to come here too, because they share that bond. And, you know, the two go perfectly together, especially when you put life on coast. Who came up with that line? Oh, never mind. So, second part of our branding thing is a brand story, and in which Morro Bay's tourism family welcomes every family at every stage of life, all shapes, all sizes, young, old, human, or canine, maybe even feline, I don't know. Because when family is everything, you got to put life on coast, which we make meaningful and motivating, all the way from intent to book to experiences that enhance visitors' stay. So, we say, okay, we're talking to this universe. We're talking to families. How are we going to do that? Well, we do that by setting some rules. And when we talk to people, we're going to have family rules. This is a sample print ad. It says, family rule number 1, family is everything. Morro Bay is everything for your family. I'll just read this one copy so you get the idea here. Morro Bay is one big happy family, and we're ready to welcome yours at every stage. Every stage of life, all shapes and sizes, young, old, human, or canine. From hiking to biking, kayaking to fishing, bird watching to wine tasting, Morro Bay has something for everyone. Because when family is everything, you've got to put life on coast. Well, who else can we be talking to? Mark would hand me the floor, and I'd tell you. Thank you, Mark. Family rule number 94. Families change over time. At every stage, have the time of your life in Morro Bay. We're talking to baby boomers. Baby boomers, yeah, their kids have moved on. Maybe they'll come visit with their kids. But even if it's two of them, they're still a family to each other. The payoff line here is because if you're going to make time for family, you've got to put life on coast. Hey, that swap went good. Good. Family rule number 35. Celebrate every momentous occasion. Baby moons rock in Morro Bay. Well, we got a family of two, but actually it's 2.5, maybe 3 pretty soon here. Payoff line, because when celebrating your expanding family, you've got to put life on coast. Or we could say it this way. Family rule number 72, Fido travels with family. And we get out the word that Morro Bay is Fido friendly, because when Fido is in the house, you've got to put life on coast. So, the great thing is about this campaign, when we're talking about family rules and the expansive quality of it, is that it can be personalized in a lot of different directions. And Marianne is going to explain that to you.
Yeah. So,
that was fast.
Thank you, Michael. So we believe that this brand strategy is perfect for many reasons. And one of them is that it is a very personalized approach that we can use at every touch point to capture decision makers throughout their travel life process. So first touch point would be their intent to purchase a trip. And what we would do is we would go after our potential visitors through retargeted digital ads. And go ahead, Mark. And here, I'll go ahead and hold it actually for now. So what we want to do is go after their specific interests and make it really personal to them. So for example, family rule 94, collect memories, not things. Families have a whale of a time in Morro Bay. So if anybody's looking to go whale watching, if they're looking in Monterey, if they're searching up and down the coast, looking for the best place to go whale watching, we want this ad to follow them based on their interests. This ad here, Family Rule 162, life is an adventure. Morro Bay offers adventure at every turn. If somebody's looking for kayaking, if someone's looking for paddleboarding, these are the ads that are going to follow those people, and they're going to understand that Morro Bay is the place to enjoy adventure. Family Rule number 49, love rules the world. Wedding destinations rule in Morro Bay. These ads we could easily put on wedding magazine publications, put them on wedding websites, and these would then follow around to retarget those people who are planning a wedding, looking for a destination wedding. That is how we would personalize this campaign approach when it came to digital branding campaigns. Morro Bay Tourism Brand Strategy also has, as far as for intent to book, the idea of putting Life on Coast podcast. Thanks, Bill. Why a podcast, you say? We actually are working with local celebrity Jeanette Trumpeter, and she's been working on podcasts, and we've been working with her and developing programs for other clients. But why a podcast? Podcast advertising is up 85% from 2016 to 2017 to the tune of $220 million. People are listening to podcasts. 75% of NPR listeners took action on a sponsored podcast. Apple is now reporting out analytics. And an interesting note, Visit California just this past Monday launched their very first podcast program. And so we're onto something here. We know this could be a cutting edge thing for Morro Bay, and we think it'd be really great to get this out through all of our social media channels, have it housed on the website, and a cost-effective advertising campaign to get that out there. Touch point number 2, so once people are booked and they're on their way and they're coming to Morro Bay, we want to make sure that there are experiences that enhance their stay so that they come again and again and they have share with their friends by word of mouth the great experiences that they've had. So our first idea is a weekly surprise gift campaign on Facebook. Example, Sally posts that she's really looking forward to coming kayaking in Morro Bay this weekend. Well, Travis sees that and he says, family rule number 88, we reward positive behavior. Pick up your kayak gift card at the Morro Bay Visitor Center, Sally, on us. Thank you for coming. Thank you for advocating for us. Tell your friends this is the place to kayak. So now we've got an advocate for life. Idea number 2, give the rock a personality and a social brand. The fog up in San Francisco, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the fog in San Francisco, but it has its own identity, Carl the Fog. I see you nodding your head. Carl the Fog has over 300,000 followers in the San Francisco area, and people tag Carl the Fog. They say, Carl the Fog was in my way today. Carl the Fog made my day today. I mean, they talk to Carl the Fog, and we think that we could make the iconic Morro Rock meaningful in a whole new way by giving it its own personality and its own social brand. Something like family rule number 7, be nice to the elderly. Morro Rock is the oldest resident in town, by the way. So, just playing with stuff like that and making it fun and interesting for people who come here who have loved the Rock. I mean, I don't know that there's many places in town that you can't see the Rock from. So I think there's a lot to play with in that, as well as photography. So what we propose too for these programs is to have a new, fresh photo every single day. What we would do is probably a seasonal photo shoot of about 100 photos so that we have a fresh, new photo, iconic photo every day for social media and for other advertising opportunities. We look forward to, actually we have one more, if I may, one more idea. Are we on the 3? Thank you. Number 3, great events enhance visitors' stay. So I'm going to grab Mike up again for this.
Very quickly. This gets to the part of the program where you asked us to do something for an event. Before we go to that, let me just say that we're talking about icons like the Rock. When you're doing event promotion, icons are incredibly powerful. For instance, a bird apiece, a guitar neck. 1969 that was joined together for Woodstock. People still wear those t-shirts today. So iconographic has a power that you want to tap into when you're doing an event. So we said, okay, what's our event? It's going to be bubbles, it's going to be butterflies. Well, what do you got? You got butterflies, that is butterfly, and you got bubbles, you got champagne. So for the icon that we're proposing for this event, we say, let's put them together into bubbles and butterflies. This works on a rule that we have, which is if you see it on a t-shirt half a block down, you know what it is. And you also go, oh, I remember going to that. That was awesome. I can't wait till next year. So we say, okay, this is our bubbles and butterflies icon. We came up with a whole bunch of them, landed on this one. Someday you want to see the others, be happy to share. So let's turn that into an ad. See, we're going to want people to do unusual things, motivated and come from LA and San Francisco. We want them to break out of we're actually saying to them, get out of your cocoon, migrate to bubbles and butterflies. And we have champagne, beer, bites, and butterflies as part of the promise and all the call to action. So we work that. And then we take it into a digital domain. Get out of your cocoon with the event. Tickets on sale now. Bubbles aren't just champagne, and beer drinking has a big, wide popularity, so we basically take our icon and we transfer it to beer. We tell people to come here and spread their wings at the Bubbles and Butterflies event. And then we have Facebook and Pinterest, where we can personalize in social media in really interesting ways. And I'll turn that over to you, Marianne.
Sure.
Should I just stand here?
Sure. Actually, here, I'll take this one. So for example, this is a Pinterest page where we included 3 of our ads. So this here is the Bubbles and Butterflies. Family rule number 3, get out of your cocoon, January 26th through 27th, 2019, Morro Bay, California, Bubbles and Butterflies, champagne, beer, bites, and butterflies in Morro Bay. This here is a blog that Shannon wrote that got a lot of play, and Travis really promoted this on social media. Family rule number 7, we all need furry friends, Otters Rock in Morro Bay. This was a leprechaun crawl ad that we did, family rule number 38, drink local wherever you are, be green with envy in Morro Bay. Hashtag leprechaun crawl. So this is a way that we can use the brand to promote events, promote blogs, promote podcasts, through, here you go, thank you. Thanks, Mark. In really effective ways. That being said, I look forward to all the questions and answers that you guys have about all these strategies. But in conclusion, why mental? Why mental? We feel really strong that Morro Bay will benefit from the continuity of the marketing and the strategies and the PR and the integration of all the strategies that we've employed with Jennifer and her team. we'd like to grow together in this, through this brand evolution with you guys. We have a positive and successful working relationship with the community. As you heard earlier, we had some advocates come in and speak on our behalf, which we're so honored and proud of. We quickly adapt to fresh approaches and things that happen. For example, Fred the octopus, the 70-pound octopus. I don't know if you guys heard about that. Giovanni de Guermore was letting it go. He bought it from a fisherman and was letting it go today back to the ocean. We wrote a press release about that. It happened quickly. It was really fun. We are also boots on the ground. We are boots on the ground daily. We're flexible and we are timely. We are ready to launch a new brand July 1, and our lives are on coast. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
I think you all did a fine job, and you've done a great job over the past 2 to 4 years. You've been working on this. If you kept the account, where would the new ideas come from? Is there ongoing training? Is there, just guide us through that a little bit.
Guide us through where the fresh ideas would come.
Correct.
Well, I really believe that focusing on a branding campaign, I think these are fresh ideas that we have to bring to the table right now. And what we're changing from is we're evolving from a direct response kind of campaign focus, like 2 months at a time, 3 months at a time. This is a longer term strategy that has a lot of room for creativity that we can use on many different levels. Our team, when we have the opportunity, we will sit down, interview the key stakeholders, I think that we need more of that in interaction with you guys, because we want to get inside the heads of the people that it benefits from, the things that they like, the things that they don't like. And when we do that, and when we sit down and we listen to you guys, that's when we get, our brains go crazy. We get to come up with new, fresh ideas, and we go to work and do that. I don't know if, Mike, you want to talk about fresh new ideas?
I think you pretty much covered it.
Yeah.
Essentially, part of what marketing does, and we're fresh, I always heard the phrase, make small differences loom large. And like Marianne says, there's a wealth of knowledge in this community about those small differences that make Morro Bay different from any other coastal choice up and down the road. So we're going to take those small things, and then we're creative people. We come up with weird, wacky, sometimes wonderful ways of doing things that attract people, motivate them to come here. It's what we do, I guess. It's like Geico. It's what we do.
Does that answer your question? Okay.
Yeah, and given that you already are deep dive, you are very, very familiar and you're on this campaign, what do you see as the trends in the next, if you were to get the contract over the next 2 years? I know we're going to be working on a strategic plan, and you're very familiar with our goals as far as midweek stays and shoulder season.
Yes.
But what do you think the trends are as far as the demographic we're trying to target, or demographics we're trying to target on that, and what is happening out there in the world that we're not doing now that you see we're going to need to hit those groups?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of trends going on. And one of them is the podcast, and I think that is a huge program that we'd like to see employed with Morro Bay. We can brand it. We can make it after, we can pick 35 topics if we want, and really, it's basically like making your own editorial. So it'd be like a native ad in a sense that people can drive around in their car and listen to. I think that's a huge trend that's coming. I think that, looking at our target audiences, we've obviously said, hey, we can really go after whichever audience we want, because we're that diverse of a destination. So I think trends in that are definitely, boomers are traveling still more, millennials are traveling more before they, settle down and start getting married and having babies, and they have a lot of disposable income. I think, pardon me? Oh, and mobile, obviously we have to be up on our game on mobile. I think that's going to be a big part of the website that's taking place. Also, trends on the website, like an online concierge on the website. So someone can actually go into the website and say, hey, I have this question, and then somebody answers them back. And so it's like we're creating more opportunities to engage with our customers on more touch points. We had all those ideas. We didn't share them today just because of the time limit, but that's definitely a trend that we're seeing just now taking off. I think that, with all the great stuff that the city is doing in positioning themselves with the new general plan and new waterfront stuff going on, those are going to be huge things that we can capitalize on and create news stories and really just really get out there with what's happening in Morro Bay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. What a great presentation, and
Thank you.
what a great few years we've had. So
Thank you. Thank you. Is that it? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to open the floor up to public comment. Seeing none, I'm going to move on.
Cut to the chase. Okay. Well, let me just make a comment first, and I guess this is a question for you, Jennifer. Does the city require us to go through this process every 2 years? It just seems like it's an immense amount of paper time, airline tickets, our time. I mean, maybe if we only do this every 3 years, potentially, are we allowed to do that, or 4 years?
So the current contract says it's to be renewed or reviewed with an RFP after 2 years. So we could probably, when we write the new contract, if the board deems to change that, we could do that. And there is a 60-day out in the contract, so we do still have opportunity if we decide it's not the right fit to always make a change. And it's hard, Stephen, I agree with you, because you're really reviewing after like a year and a half. So it is hard.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead. I think they all did a great job. Personally, I think Parker, Sanpay, Burden, or Mental Marketing could all do the job. But looking at this as a business owner with, as you say, the onboarding time, experience of Morro Bay, I would just leave it with Mental at this point. I think they had some really good ideas. I kept waiting for, you want that idea that's going to be in the book, 1,000 Places to See Before You Die, right? That's going to make people need to come to Morro Bay, not just want to come to Morro Bay. And there's a lot of places that have whales and butterflies. So that's, we've got the rock. But I think, going forward, any ideas, people need to see Morro Bay, really to bring them there. And that's the direction I'd like us to see. But, out of everything I heard today, I personally would just stay with Mental for 3 more years. Thank you.
Because Stephen has to leave, are there any that you would want to straight up eliminate or have as second or third choices? Because I imagine this discussion will go a little bit longer.
Absolutely. Again, I think my top 3 would be Parker, Sanpay, is that pronounced correct? Well, I would say number 1, I would say Mental. I would say number 2, Parker, and I'd say number 3, Burden, is my opinion.
Can I follow up, Steve? Yeah, I'm going to agree with everything Steve said. I felt that Parker Sanpay really impressed me more than I thought they were going to. I loved the focusing on a clientele that was a higher level of clientele. I think that's something we offer here. It's not just for the general public. Morro Bay is a special place for special people. But I felt that Mental Marketing killed it on creative like they always do, and I think that we should have a longer contract than the 2 years to really give them to finish up what they started. my third choice was so my first choice was mental marketing, second choice was Parker Sanpei. My third choice was creative digital agency, but they were out of my budget range, and there's a number of things that kind of just made me struggle with that, although I did think they would work great with our new website contractor. So my first choice would be mental marketing for 3 years.
Even though this meeting has run pretty long, I think it's important to mention things just other than a ranking, just to talk about what we value. To kind of go against the couple comments so far, to me, what Mental and Parker bring is an awareness of what we currently are rather than what we hope to be. And I think that that's something that we need to think about, whether we want to keep furthering the cause that we are pursuing right now. And to bring up Mental's numbers, basically our TOT is on par or below normal any other financial index that's out there. So while I do think they totally killed it with new, fresh, creative ideas between Mental and Parker, I think that there is an aspect of kind of dated ideology that I think is just worth discussing to some degree. If we are hoping for a local company, to me, Verdun, especially Ashley, their point of contact, brought an energy that we haven't seen and a level of competency that seemed through the roof in terms of potential. So they are local. The onboarding time would be limited with Verdun. They've had this account before. So I think there's a lot of upside with Verdun. Along the same lines as the energy and fresh ideas that Verdun brings, the two, CDA and Abby, I think both brought an energy and enthusiasm and a focus on millennial markets that, quite frankly, Parker and Mental seem to look past or overlook to some degree. So again, I think it's a philosophical question that the board has to answer. Do we want to keep sticking with the same message that we've had, which has value? We've branded ourselves pretty successfully. Do we want to go in a new direction and take some chances? I think that's an important debate.
I agree 100%. That's exactly the thoughts I was going through that Sean just expressed, is that and I'd say if, no other things considered, just pure thing, my first choice would probably be CDA, because when I looked at them, it was that they aren't here, or they aren't just kind of tied into this local economy. They bring a fresh idea from a very vibrant metropolitan area, and they've done a lot of work with big companies and all. I'm exactly on the fence that Sean is do we stay with a tried and true group that's doing a good job? We haven't seen great results, but to the points that Mary Ann made, they've had their challenges with the weather and all that, and the startup. I believe they can do a really good job. It's just, do we want to introduce some really take a quantum leap and try to go with really fresh ideas, somebody out of the box completely? And in my mind, if that were the case, I would probably be looking at CDA to do that. I thought they had a lot of good ideas. All of them did. I've tried to make notes. Whoever gets it, we need to go back to them and share these ideas and say, oh, you need to do the 3-day itinerary and you need to do the personas. So, but that's my thought. But I understand work with a long career in corporate America, it's not productive to have the upheaval of starting over again and again and again. I'm absolutely in favor of trying to make whatever contract we sign be a longer one. Or I guess that might be dependent upon if we did go with Mental and they've already been here for 2 years, we do give them another 2 years to work on it. Maybe with them it wouldn't be an extended contract. If it is a new fresh idea coming, or fresh group coming in, I would be in favor of extending that to give them a chance.
Jennifer, you said that there's a 60-day out. That's for anyone?
In our current contract, there is.
In the current contract.
We can do that again. We can structure it.
So if things went south, or if the key performance indicators were all going off and we weren't hitting our numbers and we weren't happy with the agency, we could release them and go after a new one.
You could, but I mean, it's a very big deal when you're talking about, room bookings and we're going to stop and change agencies. So, I mean, you have to really carefully consider that thought.
They were the only ones, Mental were the only ones that brought up our new website from what I recall. Did others bring up the new website and then working with the new, because we've got a challenge with our new website coming up. And we're really going to have to get that pulled together with our marketing, but I didn't hear anyone else talk about it except for Mental. Maybe it's just because they're aware.
Yeah, that's why.
Ken, what are your thoughts?
They're all aware of the website, so you are aware when I sent them the letter that they were in the final 5. I sent them the Simple View overview and contract, so they're very aware of everything Simple View is doing. I also sent them the visa view from the county, and I sent them the past research that the county did for Morro Bay. So they all had the same base to build off of.
Well, I think Jennifer summed it up just a minute ago with the comment that it's a big deal to change horses midstream. And I like the interaction that I've had with Mary Ann, which has been several times in the limited time I've been in town. And I think they're very, very capable. And, sometimes things like this get people thinking in a different range than they might have if this hadn't come along. I think if the CEO comes in and says, let's talk about your performance, that might shake things up a little bit. And I think that will give them the ability to be more creative. And let's face it, they had to come in here and they had to onboard, and then they had all the challenges that they've had. So I like Mental. The others had great value. There was something I gleaned from all of them. CDA was a good example. But I could be real happy with Mental for a 3-year contract.
So just so you didn't misunderstand me, I wasn't stating specifically don't change because of Mental. I was saying if we get into a new contract and we decide we want 60 days out, that to me is a big deal because now we've got somebody new in place and we're going to stop. We'd have to go back out to RFP and the whole process over again because it's a large contract.
Yeah,
so
it is.
That's what I meant.
I understood it. I just overstepped, I guess.
No, it's okay. I don't want you to. So I'll give you a couple more thoughts on just on the few agencies that you all mentioned. So Mental, my only thought on them was that they were the only group that brought up the strategic plan, and to me that is going to be the thing that's going to kick us with whoever the agency is into where we want to go. And until we get a really strong strategic plan in place, I mean, it's going to guide us for the next 10 years. And I have money in my budget to do that. So that I think is really important. Parker Sanpay, my hesitation is that they have not worked with a DMO as their complete contract as an agency. They do have portions of it and they've worked with the different wine regions. I love their quality work. I thought their branding campaign was spot on. How are they going to be pushing it out? And that to me structurally would be my concern because we don't know because I didn't have anybody I could call and ask how were they as a group for your DMO. Verdun I thought did a fine job. A couple things that I wanted to mention on them is so I asked about the PR. So their PR is out of state. What I heard them saying was based on the dollar figures that they have, that they were looking at probably bringing in 7 different groups for the year for vetted journalists, is what I understood. Right now we bring in 25 a year, just so you have a comparison of what we do to what they're talking about doing. So that's a huge, same amount of money, huge change. So keep that in mind. And then Verdun is really a strong creative agency. I think they would do a good job creatively. My question would be on reporting out and the metrics, making sure that they do what we need to see. So that would be my only thought about them. Those were the only ones. Oh, and CDA, I like them. I think they're really great guys. I was disappointed they didn't bring a creative campaign. So I don't know. That was really disappointing because I thought they would be a really strong contender and I don't know how we compare them when we didn't actually see concepts. So that was kind of a bummer.
I think they all did, a pretty interesting. Everyone was just a little bit different, and they brought a lot of great things. CDA just, unfortunately, they didn't. I really liked them, but they didn't hit the budget. They're asking for a lot more money, and so that if we had it, great, but we don't. Linda at Parker St. Page, very well-known, very established in high end, and really could do some wonderful things for us, but doesn't have that the DMO that we're looking for. Again, I've enjoyed working with Verdin in the past as well, with Mary at VCB old days, and she's got a great. Ashley Akers is one of the movers and shakers in the county and in the state, and so she would be a great person to lead us. But I'm going back to mental in that continuity is key. I'm pleased with what they can do. I know they can do better, and I think they need more direction from us. And with that, I think that we should discuss the formation of a marketing and PR committee of this board, 2 people on this board. That would not affect the Brown Act, that we could actually get in and do more work with them, help with the strategic plan, and give them more guidance. So that's my suggestion.
I do want to bring up another point regarding mental. I think that even though they brought a great ad campaign, we need to just remember the last 2 years and the meetings here and the struggles that we've endured. They've had to overcome some things, but we've had to overcome some things as a result of reporting concerns, lackluster presentations at times that we've heard from our constituents that, that we've heard, whether we've received emails or public commenters that that weren't here to see that presentation to be impressed like we were. So we do need to remember those 2 years, and so carryover has its pros and cons. Abbey agency that went first, I think, is worth noting as potentially, it may be the biggest risk, but maybe the biggest reward. Reno is a market that isn't here, but they've worked with DMOs of our shape and size locally. They put together a really interesting campaign with the migrations of the humankind that I thought was pretty excellent. And also, Reno has a lot of experience with conventions and bringing tech into the town, which is maybe where Morro Bay is more headed rather than where we are right now. So personally, I think that mental might be the safest choice. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the best choice. And how I would rank it is I would put Verdin first because it bridges that fresh approach, new look at it, maybe LeBron James returning to Cleveland type, give them a second, kind of a second look at Morro Bay. They're familiar with the market, but they're coming in with a fresh energy that it may be hard for mental to recreate. So I would put Verdin first, and I would actually put Abbey second because I would encourage Morro Bay to take some chances rather than stick with the status quo, and I'd have mental third.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board or from staff? Seeing none.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to recommend to council that we give mental marketing the contract for 3 years, and that we form a subcommittee with 2 people on it to work with them to better the reporting and better the relation.
I'll second that.
Calling a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Nay.
3-2. Motion failed. We didn't have. We need 4.
This isn't a motion, but I would love to see a 2-year contract stay, and I'd love that to be vetted in the fall rather than the spring. If we can possibly write future contracts so that the onboarding takes place in the fall. It just seems like, going back to my calendar year discussion, which I hope is on a future agenda item, to line up our contracts and our processes maybe in a way that makes a little bit more logical sense as opposed to right now. It's a small, minor point.
Budget's fiscal year, that's why it's done that way. So that would be outside of my purview. I'll have to talk with probably Jen Calloway's office. And also, Sean, I think you're on the right track with the 2-year contract, and I think you guys should do a 6-month review, like a really strong review, put that into the recommendation as well, if we're going to go with mental again.
When RFP processes happen with other advisory boards, do their staff recommendations create a ranking of their preferred vendors? I know on our staff report it didn't have a recommendation from you or from staff. Do other advisory boards historically rank or have this director say something?
So you had a subcommittee, right? Is that true? Right, because your subcommittee would have made a recommendation possibly, but you didn't have one. That's brought you 5.
No, we brought 5 for you to review.
Okay, that was just a point of clarity. Thanks.
I'd like to make the same motion and amend it to 2 years.
Calling for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay. We've got 4 to 1. That passes. I think we're all going to look forward to working closer with mental marketing. I know that the motion did not include a 6-month review, but I'm going to put that in a future agenda item. I think it's really important that we work with them closer, give them more direction and more criticism. And if we hear criticism from our constituents, we need to bring it to them too. But I'm excited to see where we go in the future, so good things happening.
Do we need to create some sort of a review thing because to present something to the board in terms of recommendation? Like right now?
You can put it on a future agenda item. Is that what you're asking? You can ask, and you have to have 3 of you agree on it if you want to.
Can we create a new motion to insert the 6-month?
You can't put a motion. Oh, can you? Lori?
For,
you can probably add it.
You could ask the motion
Or just do a second motion.
I motion that now, given that people have decided that mental is our agency, that rather than a 2-month review or a 60-day review like we've had in the past, that we go with a 6-month review or a 6-month out clause, if you will.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes. Thank you. Do we have any future agenda items other than the ones we've already talked about?
I still would like to talk about that open letter to other advisory boards and other staff organizations, an open letter from Tourism Bureau that I'd be happy to
You can ask for it to be a future agenda item.
That's what I'm doing right now. Future agenda item.
I'd like to see that too. Sure. Thank you, Sean. Not seeing any further business, I'm going to call this at 12:20. Thank you.